Hello and welcome everybody to the GDQ Hotfix. I am your host, Etchy, bringing you a little 3D Sonic speedrun mini showcase we got going on here. It's going to be Sonic Adventure 2 Battle by Emerald, and then following that will be Sonic Frontiers Any Percent by Emerald. And then we're going to finish off with the latest Sonic games, Sonic Dream Team. That'll be done by Witherman. So that one's going to be interesting because it's like Apple TV, and I don't think I've ever seen an Apple TV speedrun before, so I'm super excited for that. And I think we're just going to get into this pretty quickly here. So Emerald, why don't you go ahead and take us into the run?
Yeah, no problem. Hey guys, my name is Emerald. I've been speedrunning Sonic Adventure 2 for a really long time at this point, kind of on and off, but more serious over the last few years. And I'm joined here by my co-commentator, Dawn. You want to introduce yourself?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Dawn SR, also Sonic speedrunner, content creator, all that good stuff. Happy to be here.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of things happening really quickly in this run. So just to give you just a brief overview before I start, there's 3 different play styles for this game. And we're going to kind of talk about them over the course of the run. It's just that like immediately right away, we get into a really big skip for Sonic. So without further ado, we're going to go here. So 3, 2, 1, go. Loading into City Escape, we're going to be starting here with a boarding section, which is really funny because there's not many of these in the run. There's a little bit of tech involved with these. We're going to be trying to get some double jumps off the ramps to get some speed here. We try to get it off the first ramp. The second ramp, we don't want to double jump because if we do, we might have too much speed and ram into a curb here. But if this is done correctly, I can actually jump off the board a little bit early and save a little bit of time because I gain control of Sonic there. Normally he would be locked into that. But Dawn, if you want to try to explain City Escape Skip since it's coming up.
Yeah, so basically what I'm just going to try to do here is they tried to gate your speed on this ramp, but if you actually have enough speed, using stored speed at a spin dash, you can trick off the ramp, and if you're perfectly out of bounds, just like that, it pushes you with no collision, flying through about half of the stage.
Yeah, it's actually so funny how this trick even works because it's just very convenient for us speedrunners that like the way that the stage is laid out, it spirals on top of each other, on top of itself as you go down. So it's just a very convenient string of things that make that trick work, and it saves so much time.
Yeah, it's honestly a miracle it works. And you know, the very, very iconic section here, the truck chase, we're going to be using a lot of the speed character mechanics here to stick to slopes and use momentum, and that truck had no chance catching up to Sonic here. Got a little glimpse of him there at the end, but very solid time here. Yeah,
not too bad. So in this game, Sonic, when he's just running, normally he's in his normal running animation, his speed is actually capped. So if you notice, any chance that we get in the run, we're going to be trying to spin dash or at least be in ball form when going downhill, just because we can go a little bit faster than normal. But yeah, coming up here is our first boss fight, Bigfoot. This fight can actually be done frame perfectly. I'm not too great at the frame perfect strat, but it's not the worst because all we're really going to do here is we're going to hit him as he goes up in the air, and he's just going to get locked in place. So we'll see if we get the first hit. And then what we're going to do is when we land, we actually want to somersault and then jump onto the box here so we can quickly get up to him. If I tried to just run normally here instead of somersault, what would happen is Sonic would actually kind of slip around on the ground a little bit before he got enough speed, and he wouldn't make it to the box or make it to Bigfoot to hit him.
And only 2 frames off of frame perfect. We take those.
Yeah, we definitely take those. Dawn, you want to try to explain hunting a bit here?
Yeah, so here's another gameplay style we have. We have the treasure hunting stages, where basically you have to collect 3 pieces of the Master Emerald randomly generated, and M is getting bullied with these piece 1s. They are not good, so he's going to just reset them. Hope for some better RNG. But basically what speedrunners do to make these fast is memorize every single hint location based off of its, or every piece location based off of its hint 1. And so basically the goal is check a hint, grab a piece. Check a hint, grab a piece. Now sometimes there's some free pieces you can check. Unfortunately, we didn't get any here, but still a solid time nonetheless.
Yeah, not too bad. Kind of unlucky too with those resets. There's a handful of pieces in each stage that the likelihood that you're going to get a good set with them is really low. So we just end up resetting and try to re-roll. But it's not a big deal because it barely wastes any time to do that. The only real downside to it is we burn a life, which is kind of a valuable resource for later on when we're probably going to have to reset even more in the later treasure hunting stages. So
Yeah, there's some death strats we do and some stages that are just really hard, so lives are actually valuable resources in this game. Yeah, so definitely wasting some early feels a little bad. Also, very nice Eggman one time.
Thank you.
Can't get too much better than that.
yeah, you blink it, it's over. The AI for this fight is not very smart. You just hit him at the very beginning and then he runs towards you. And now we're going to be getting into our first mech stage. Now, I'm sure a lot of you who played this game growing up remember how frustrating these levels are to play just because Tails is really, really slow in the mech. Well, it's probably just because it's just the least intuitive movement in the game, but it's really, really cool when everything comes together. We're going to be trying to keep our momentum as much as possible. And any time that there is a turn greater than like 45 degrees, we're going to be doing a little bit of a hop, so that way we can conserve our speed. Because if you turn on the ground any further than that, Tails will lose a bunch of speed super quick. And funny enough, this is the first Tails stage, but it's actually one of the more difficult stages movement-wise for him, because there's a lot of camera triggers that come up where you're going to have to suddenly adjust your angle, as well as you have to lock onto these enemies preemptively so that you can make it for the cycle on these doors. You see there, I even kind of backed up a little bit so I could like carry a little bit of speed while going under that one. But yeah, locking onto enemies here to open some gates later. We can jump off of some of these elevators early too.
Yeah, it's pretty funny that they gave us such a hard stage as probably anyone's first mech stage that they play. Like, it's already so clunky in the first place, and then they give you the hardest movement, like one of the hardest stages right away. It's a bit brutal, but you're blazing through it right now.
Yeah, this is actually a very solid time.
Yeah, you're going to struggle to get a time like that for a very long time when you start playing this game.
Yeah, this game is very difficult. I don't want to... I mean, this game is really... I think it's beginner-friendly in the sense of, like, you don't have to learn, like, a bunch of crazy tricks to start running the game. But it has, like, a really high skill ceiling. So you could just, like, infinitely work on this game and feel like you're improving. It's really cool.
Yeah, even the stages that are a lot more consistent are still pretty difficult. Like, you could say that Metal Harbor is the more consistent stage, but I mean, you see that water. It's basically just a giant kill plane right beneath you, and we're trying to do really precision platforming as optimally as possible, which means jumping over gaps with not that much hover frames, doing things as fast as possible, and risking potential death from them.
Yeah.
But as long as you play it well, I mean, you're able to blaze through the stage pretty fast and reasonably consistent. There's some tough strats though. Like, for example, we have pulley skip.
Unlucky.
You want to play it really close to the edge so that you can try to actually make it all the way to the other side.
I'll go for it again.
But
I'm feeling risky.
Yeah. All right.
I know I can definitely get this. There we go.
Yeah, and that's a great example with Metal Harbor. That strat is pretty hard, honestly, and it really only saves a second or two. But it's hard to get it down consistently, but once you do it, it definitely feels very nice.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. There are some really, really big skips in this run, but a lot of the time saved, especially like at higher level, is just like, I'm doing a trick that saves me like a second, and I might just end up losing 12 like I just did there, trying to go for it if I die. So funny thing about that rocket, you can mash A to jump off of it early and just save a little bit of time. But yeah, we blazed through this level. If you noticed, a lot of the collision in this game, a lot of the pathing and stuff on Metal Harbor, it's not solid on the bottom. Like, you can like get Sonic to go under it, but you won't fall through it, luckily. So that's nice. It makes it really convenient for skipping a bunch of the loops and the pathing in this stage. But not so bad. Coming up here is everybody's favorite cutscene, the most iconic one in the game. And funny enough, it's an unskippable cutscene, so I'll just let it play out in all of its glory.
Let's go.
So far, so good. Hey, that's...
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
I found you, Faker.
Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Huh. You're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you eat those
So
words.
edgy, Shadow. So edgy.
The
What a
classic
guy.
right there.
You won't even get
So for this fight, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna run into him here and do a somersault and a jump. In this game, the way that like somersaulting works and stuff, The game doesn't know whether or not, because there's only really 2 buttons you're going to be pressing, the A button for jump and B for action. The game has to take time to decide whether or not you're doing a somersault or you're trying to press the B button to like pick up an item or spin dash. But if we do like a somersault and then immediately jump, or press B and immediately jump, it puts out the somersault hitbox and actually hits Shadow like through him on the backside where you normally are able to hit him. And then we just kind of like manip him in a circle so that we can hit him from the back.
Some funny boss AI. Just he keeps running at you.
All right, you want to talk about Green Forest? The stage is very difficult, so I'm going to be focusing.
We have one of the hardest stages in the run here. Pretty early, usually is like one of the first run killers. You're going to see a ton of wall runs here. And also, you're going to see M use storage as well. That pretty much that same property that we used to fight Shadow. You're going to see him use it on the spring here. It actually lets you land earlier, and he will have pre-charged a spin dash, basically. You see that spin dash come out almost instantly. We got 1 wall run down. There are 3 if you're a follower of the Emerald stream. Okay, we're 1 out of 2 so far. The bet is usually if you can get 2 out of 3 first try. So we'll see with the big one. The big wall run here is a trick that was really not considered RTA viable for a long time. And now we've gone from just adding the trick to the run to implementing the task version of it into single segment runs. So here we go, using loop speed to get on the wall. He's going to spin dash up the wall, maneuver Sonic through the wall, and jump around some invisible walls to make it all the way to the end. Let's go.
That trick is always so stressful.
Yeah, it's arguably the hardest trick in the run, and yeah, nailing it first try there. Very solid.
Oh no, I was going to go for it.
Yeah.
That was a sign from the game. I was thinking about going for it. There's a little trick that you can do at the end to skip that last spring by kind of doing a spin dash into the tree that's like right next to it. And it saves like a second or 2, I think. But like if you die, it wastes a bunch of time. So that was the game's way of telling me, hey, don't go for that, silly.
Yeah.
Back away from that trick.
Yeah, and it's like you're usually not going to die to the trick, but on the off chance you do, it just feels really bad, especially at the end of like a clean green forest like that.
No time to lose.
All right, so now we are in Pumpkin Hill. This treasure hunting stage is like one of the most open ones. It's just a lot of gliding around. I actually got Silent Hill. So that happens when you cancel the upgrade text and get the hint on the same frame. So unfortunately, we can't hear the Pumpkin Hill music. That's my bad. Ooh,
This is so sad.
this piece is not very good. Yeah, and also the music is sad too.
So yeah, we got a great first piece into a terrible second piece. Let's see how it evens out. Okay,
it could be
That's
worse.
Not terrible. Yeah, like we definitely could have gotten King of the Hill from here, which is all the way on the other side of the map.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of. I guess the RNG is just very volatile. Oh no, do I have to wait for the train? Please no. Oh, sad.
I found him.
You can hear the horn as it's running, as the train is running you over.
Yes. Knuckles didn't get out of the way, man. Look out! Look out!
Yeah.
But yeah, the I got a 46 here. In a perfect world, I would get like maybe like for an average time, I'd say like a high of 30 probably is average. Would you agree, Don?
Yeah. It kind of depends, but yeah, I would say that's about right. So
Yeah.
we got slightly below average there.
You can get like
unfortunate-
sets that are in like the high 20s at its lowest, which would save a lot of time. But you know, it is RNG at the end of the day. We can. Pumpkin Hill is one of the few stages where you can't really like make up for it too much. In some of the other stages, you can make up for bad sets with good movement and good clip outs and stuff like that. But anyways, we're here in Mission Street. I just got the hover upgrade, and you notice I actually waited in the upgrade for a second. Oh, well, me waiting in the upgrade now doesn't matter. But basically, there's platforms in the stage that are on a global cycle. So as soon as I load into the stage, the platforms are moving. And we were gonna try to wait in that upgrade because while you're in the upgrade, the time stops, but the platforms continue to move. So by waiting in the upgrade, we can try to wait for a more favorable cycle. And now I just look really silly having to wait for these platforms here.
Yeah, that pause hover is rough. I guess I should explain pause hovers.
Yeah, go for it.
When you use the hover upgrade, if you can place your A inputs super close together, you actually just keep that upward speed from like your jump, right? So if you hover right away, you're just able to shoot up way farther than they ever intended. So you could go over those cages like M did. You can make that weight cycle that you're not really supposed to in the first place. And you can you'll see in Hidden Base, pause hovers are absolutely broken. There's no way they anticipated it, because otherwise they would have changed the collision of the game a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, that weight hop one is, it's definitely not frame perfect, maybe 2 or 3 frames, so you definitely have to push it pretty hard, which makes it a little nerve-wracking, because if you miss that one hover, you're losing at least 12 seconds, so it feels pretty bad.
Yeah. Basically, the reason why the pause hover there at the very beginning failed was because I pressed A and start on the same frame. So I didn't delay them, and I missed the A press, and so Tails just kind of fell down. But it's all good. That only wastes like, I think we waste like 12 seconds for missing the cycle here, about.
Yeah, and so the confusing part about the pause hover inputs is you can press them on the same frame when you're first pausing, but when you're unpausing, you have to delay the A button by 1 frame.
Yeah.
This game is hilarious.
Yeah, and actually one of the things that runners do, at least for this game, is in the Steam settings. So I'm playing on Xbox controller, but we actually set our pause button to our bumper, just to make life easier for pause hovers, because otherwise like people would have to like do some really weird like claw inputs or something to try to hit the pause button on their controller. There are some people who don't. They play on GameCube controller though, so they don't rebind the pause button. So yeah, in that cutscene we can see some free pieces potentially, but there was none. I think that's a bad ping.
I agree. Best stage, I gotta say it. I absolutely love this stage. It's super fun. There's a lot of fun movement tech you can do here. This would have been one of the pieces we could have seen in the cutscene, but we got it after reload, so
yeah,
we won't see it. And yeah, we got 3 skulls arguing. This stage is really interesting because, like I said, there's a lot of cool movement tech and clip outs you can do, like nearly everywhere, to the point where like we can't even implement all of them most of the time. But here we're gonna see a clip out there. You just run along, and an interesting thing that M did is he landed on that original platform again, so that he could actually clip out there, and the camera will follow instantly. For whatever reason, when you touch that platform, it just resets your camera and allows that to be a lot faster than it should have been.
Yeah, so I'm kind of sad that the set didn't let us show off some of the other tech, but yeah, there's like sign clip outs and stuff for the stage, as well as wall runs and stuff like that. Aquatic Mine is like one of probably the most technical hunting stages as far as like movement goes. And then later on, the next hunting stage we're going to is probably the most difficult because it has like a lot of, not only does it have a lot of clip outs, but it also has a lot of really difficult decision making to have to do on the fly. Excuse me. So now we're in the kart stage. This is in the game. It exists. It's not too bad. The way that this works is there's a score system. After you get 20 points that are invisible, by the way, you can't see them, you get a boost. And the reason why it's a point system is because of like the balloons and stuff like that. If you get that balloon, like for example, that was on that pit stop kind of on the left side there, it gets you a boost instantly, but it resets your score to 0. So we have to take that into account when routing in the balloons. And there's also one that'll be on the road here. I believe it's 10 score as opposed to 20, and that one doesn't reset your score. So we're basically just going to be trying to. I'm also in a constant state of drift, and that just makes it so that we can turn a little bit easier. It's funny because on the PC version, the turning is actually worse compared to like the GameCube version, and I'm not exactly sure about the Dreamcast version. But the handling of the cart is a lot worse on PC. But we still make it work anyway with the drifting. It makes it perfectly manageable. So I just have to zigzag back and forth like this, use boosts after uphills like this. And that's pretty much it. This stage will be pretty consistent. Like the cars are consistent too. They always are in the same spot. So we don't have to worry about that. There's a couple of turns here that like you kind of have to hit into the wall. So like that one there and then the one that I did before. You don't lose much speed for it though, luckily. Not a big deal.
As long as you hit it right, yeah.
Yeah, you can slam into it in a bad way and then lose a ton of speed, but if you just angle the cart in a specific way, then you don't lose much.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the drift state is that you just don't... So the turning obviously is better, but you don't decelerate or accelerate, which is why we do the boosts after the uphills, right? Because we've lost a lot of speed. Mm-hmm. And when we're going downhill, we pick up that speed again. Like, you don't... Okay, like on flat ground, you don't accelerate or decelerate, basically. But the slopes and boosts are the only thing that can influence your speed. Mm-hmm. So if we stay at top speed the whole time, then it's not a problem.
Yeah. So now we're getting into the desert levels, which is probably one of the most, if not the most difficult section of the game. We have hidden base here, which has a lot of pause hovers. I'm going to try to go for a strat here that'll save a bunch of time, but it's very easy to miss. But luckily, if I do mess it up, there's a few backups. So we'll see if I can get it first try.
Yeah, and so remember when I mentioned that in Hidden Base you will see just how broken pause hovers are and how they really didn't expect it. Yeah, these things just don't have collision out here after a certain point.
Yeah. Walls don't exist. We don't need to worry about them.
Classic Sonic games, to be honest. And yeah, pause hovers are absolutely just going to break this stage. They just clearly didn't consider these things being a possibility whatsoever. But we're going to be able to skip a good chunk of it. Just because of that pole hop there. It skips a whole entire section. I don't know exactly how much time it saves, but it is a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact number. I just know that like pole hop, I think like saves like 7 over GC. Is that accurate?
I think it's like 5.
Okay, yeah, that's probably right.
That skip is also more dangerous because you do go through walls that do have collision.
Yeah, you have to still maneuver. So it looked like all those walls just didn't exist. Parts of the walls exist, which makes it even funnier. So we just have to be very careful. If you notice here too, these breakable doors, you actually just can't spam. You can't spam as fast as you can into them because while they're doing their cracking animation, they're actually invincible. So we have to kind of do it in a rhythm that makes it so that they break by the time we get there.
Yeah, and the developers were pretty good about finding exploits before the game came out, like with City Escape or whatever, but yeah, they didn't anticipate pause hovers, as you could tell from this stage.
Yeah, we absolutely blew through that stage. Not a bad time.
All right, and now we have one of the most technical movement stages for Sonic. This is an absolute gauntlet of the run, Pyramid Cave. It's a very, very cool stage. We're going to see a lot of momentum-based slope gameplay here, especially in these tunnels. What M's going to try to do is try to stay on the downhill parts of these tunnels as much as possible, just to keep the speed up. And it's honestly a bit hard to see, but I hope you can understand by that definition. There's just a lot going on here. Basically, whenever there's a downhill slope, M's going to try to charge up his spin dash to keep the stored speed, and then let it go on the downhill. Yeah, the slopes here are the key, basically. Also, we have the most broken upgrade in the game, bar none right here, the Bounce Bracelet. You've already seen one application, the Super Bounce. You can convert your horizontal speed into vertical by jumping and bouncing into the wall right before you hit it. Yeah, it just works. And again, they really didn't expect the collision to be what it is. Yeah, also walls.
Yeah, that door
just don't exist.
You know, it doesn't exist. That's actually more precise than it looks, but there's just a very easy visual cue to pick up to do it, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
And that saves a lot of time because you skip like a really big key, or like a really big section to get a key.
Yeah, and here's another great application of the Bounce Bracelet, being able to use skewed gravity. Basically, it just sends Sonic downwards, but it doesn't mean true downwards. It means whatever direction is down for Sonic. So in that moment, down for Sonic is almost directly horizontal, funny enough, and you're able to skip entire sections of the stage just because, yeah, we feel like it's a bit faster. You're going to see a very similar strat again here, using skewed gravity.
I had to take that carefully because I missed the checkpoint. I was scared.
Yeah. Yeah, I was shocked when I saw that. I was like, oh no. Yeah. Hopefully we'll be good, because it takes you back to about 12 seconds into the stage, so a little dangerous.
Yeah. But it worked out. We're good. We're good. I approached it slowly. Yeah, Pyramid Cave is a toughie. It's definitely like that one stage that runners will like, they boot up the game and are like, all right, let me warm up. Let's play some Pyramid Cave.
Yeah. All right, so we have Death Chamber. Very cool stage. There has been basically like research papers done on this stage because of its depth. It's really interesting because of the maze-like structure of the stage. I am so sad this is not in the 1024 also.
Oh yeah, I feel like this would be a banger set.
Yeah. So there's a thing that has happened in this game where there is a finite amount of sets. So of the 3 pieces basically, right? So people have memorized some combinations that'll tell you where another piece is to make the stages really fast. And so that combo was actually a very good one, but when you reset, it takes you out of that. Also, no death strats here. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should have died there or not.
I think you did the right play.
Because I didn't know with like 3 Container Brothers
This is
if I should have been doing it for... Well, actually, no. Well, I guess I could have died and then gotten a better P3. Yeah, there's so much decision making that goes into this. Like, I probably made like the unoptimal one, but it's like there's so many things rushing in your head while you're playing it, and you have to like decide what you're gonna do in just a few seconds. So
Yeah. Usually when you see a runner play Death Chamber, if there's some runners in their chat or something, you will see the runner debating what they should have done, and every runner in their chat saying, maybe you could have done this, and then everybody will just talk about it.
yep.
Cool strat here, also getting hit by the fireball to be able to get around King Boom Boo's back. He usually doesn't let you hit that until quite later into the fight.
Yeah, you
so that
have
saves
to
a
wait
lot of
for
time.
like I think like 4 fireballs.
But we get it on the first one, and also, if you have never been able to do this, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you have to run at a pretty specific angle, and you also have to hit King Boom Boo at a specific spot too. Knuckles is fast enough to catch up with him, but you can also go ahead of him. If you punch too far in the front, he flips backwards, and if you punch too far in the back, then he'll go too far ahead of you.
All right, and we have Egg Golem. We're going to be using the super bounces, but this is super hard mode because look at that ledge. It is tiny. We have a matter of frames to get off a full speed spin dash into a super bounce. So releasing B and then pressing A and B again. Again, in a matter of frames. It's a pretty difficult trick, but as you can see, it saves a lot of time having to climb up Egg Golem's back over and over and over. And yeah, pretty solid Egg Golem here on the second try, and the fast strat at the end. Let's go.
Not bad, not bad.
We take those.
nice.
Yeah, we could die a little bit early there too to stop the in-game timers. So this game is actually timed in loadless. So basically, loads are removed, and deaths are removed, as well as cutscenes. But everything else is timed. Well, except for upgrades, I guess, but that's a little bit complicated too. That's why we waited in the upgrade in Mission Street.
It's basically the timer you see in the top left, plus any menuing that you do.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. All right, well, this
All right.
trick is called Bofa. That's not a joke. That is the name of the trick. And what we're going to be trying to do is we're going to try to use Bofa to boxes, the clip out of bounds here, and just fly out of bounds to the end of the stage. Ah, yeah.
So close. You could tell Tails was ready there.
Yeah. And it's luckily for us, there's a checkpoint literally right here. So if the boxes break, we get an easy second try attempt. And here, I'm going to hold on. Okay, good.
Yeah.
The second attempt of this trick is actually easier. I think Dawn can explain it better, but it has something to do with the way that the objects load in. Do you
Yeah.
remember exactly what it is?
So yeah, I am actually the one. Someone made a mod basically that, or like a program that reads those 3 boxes in particular and shows which order they load in, right? And then I sat down for a while and just looked at it and thought about it. And basically, what's happening is when you first approach those boxes, the bottom 2 load, and then the top 1 loads, and that's the key. It always happens: bottom 2, then the top 1. But if you respawn from that checkpoint, somehow the top box loads first, which gives it just different physics, basically. And so it just makes it easier to clip out for some reason. I don't really understand it. There's no other way that we've been able to find that makes it load in that same way. And here, We're going to the goal ring.
I'm gonna play it safe.
Can be a little scary because of the camera. There you go.
Yeah, I kind of made a late decision. You can adjust, like, when the camera flips while you're out of bounds there, you have to, like, adjust Tails' angle just very slightly to get a better angle towards the goal ring. But I kind of decided to do it late, so I was like, maybe I should take this a little bit safer, but yeah.
In worst case, you can always clip back into the stage, but that's slow because you have to fight some stuff.
All right, so we're loading into our last treasure hunting stage here. And funny enough, this is probably one of the easier ones just because of like how open it is. Oh, no lives. No lives.
Yeah, and when you load back in, you actually are just given 4 again, which is really nice. So sometimes you will see people exit out if... and it also works out as well because we got some scary skips coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice to have them. All right, 2 huge containers. This piece is controversial, but I think it's awesome, personally. Dangerous liquid. Now, this is a 50-50, but fortunately, M was right next to the other location, so we just know it's up here.
It's close.
And let's see what that last piece is.
Oops. Okay.
Oh, wow. Interesting set. Now, this piece is kind of funny because... Oh.
That's kind of funny.
There's actually 2 locations. There's next to a mini steel beam and next to the mini steel beam.
Ignore me. I fell off.
Yeah, you gotta love random meteors hitting you during your speedrun, right? That could never have really bad implications for your run.
It has never lost me a run ever. Ever.
This is perfect.
Yeah, kind of getting unlucky there with I mean, the set was good. The set was pretty solid, all things considered, but I definitely misplayed a little bit there, but that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, you got really good RNG with the set, and then the meteor RNG was not good, so unfortunate.
All right, so for this Rouge fight, the name of the game here is to try to defeat her before the, I think, 18-second mark, because then the ground opens up. So here, when the text disappears, I'm going to neutral stick glide, wait for her to jump, and then when she lands, I'm just going to drill dive over and over again into her face. And it's a good time.
Get away from my
Nice. Sub 15. Well, we take anything sub 15. It's very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you explain Crazy Gadget, Don.
So this stage is, for lack of a better term, crazy. It's pretty interesting. There's been a lot of skips over time for this stage. You probably remember it for this part, the gravity flipping mechanic. And now we're just upside down. So having to play the game and do some actually pretty difficult movement during the stage is difficult. But we do have the very infamous CGSS, also known as Crazy Gadget Skip, because very creative naming. Basically what M's going to be doing here is there's going to be a very small gap between 2 kill planes that were meant to totally cover up the exit to this area. But if you're able to just weave through them perfectly, just like that, you're able to get out of bounds. And if you do it right, as long as you don't kill your speed enough to weave through the kill planes, you can actually make it all the way to the goal ring from there, skipping like half of the stage.
Yeah, very iconic trick, very cool trick. And honestly, with the method that I do now, it's a lot easier than it used to be, the free cam box hover method. We actually, before we used to tell runners, there was an older variation of the skip that was slower, but it had a lot more moving parts to it, like a lot more opportunities to mess it up. So now we actually encourage runners after they get to like a certain point to learn this skip instead of learning CGS at all.
Yeah, it used to be arguably like on the same level as wall run. I think people would probably put it there.
Yeah.
But we understand the skips so much better now that technically it's not, or mechanically I should say, it's not as bad. Also some nice AI manipulation here to make Eggman run into the little explosive tank there. And very quick fight.
Yeah, that manip is harder than it looks. There's a couple of different ways you can do it, and ways to back it up if things go wrong. But if it goes too wrong, that fight can last a really long time. Okay, so we're in our last stage here before the final boss. We're going to be using a skip to go around some kill planes that I'm also going to have Don explain. Just this game is really hard to explain while you're playing it.
Yeah, so this stage has like a million potential ways to skip it because of how broken skewed gravity is once again. We're going to use the bounce to just keep this and go, again, nearly horizontal. M is actually cutting it a bit lower than you can potentially to save some time. The kill planes are way far out, so you're going to go out for about 17 seconds, drop the skewed gravity, and then turn towards the goal ring. We still have to be a bit careful with our angle here. One, because we want to go towards the goal ring and not sacrifice height, and also because there's going to be a kill plane on our left. Funny enough, it's just a leftover from another part of the stage, and it's just a massive kill plane that extends for whatever reason. So behind the end of the stage, there's just a kill plane sitting out there.
Yeah, and it's kind of a hold your breath moment because you don't really know what it's going to look like until this comes in, but we have plenty of height, so we're super chilling.
Yeah, we're golden. Yeah, and pretty much perfect angle to avoid the kill plane while also still being optimal.
If you're too low here too, there's like an invisible wall that'll kind of stop you. But you can make it through if you do the bounce method. There's like Don said, there's a bunch of different ways to not only do that trick, but also just like skips for this stage. But if you're not bouncing and you're too low, then you actually won't make it through the kill plane. You have to like ride up against it and hope that the game doesn't push you out and kill you at the end. All right, so now we're going to come up to the final boss fight here, Shadow. This fight will be over pretty quickly. I will say time on the last hit. It's coming up here. We're going to veer off to the side here and homing attack him. And then our goal is to hit him before he lands.
Yeah, you can basically just stun lock Shadow over and over till the last
Time.
hit. Time.
GG.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, not too bad of a run. Not too bad of a run. And yeah, that fight is pretty standard. As you saw, I had like weird bounces kind of at the end. That was a little scary, but as long as I don't touch the stick too much and I just let Sonic homing attack him, he doesn't go off to the side too badly. And also there's like a way where if you like end up, I guess kind of immediately behind him, you can bounce and he'll like, it's actually, you can get faster hits with bounces. It's just less consistent. So getting a bounce is actually not even the end of the world. It's actually kind of a nice thing sometimes.
Yeah, it can
Do
be
you know
faster.
what your load time or load remove time is?
My load remove time is 24:04.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Not too bad. What was the RTA? Because I actually don't see my RTA.
35:17.
Okay, sick. Not bad.
Cool. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick little break, everybody, just to set up the next run, which is also going to be by Emerald. He's going to be doing a Sonic Frontier 80% run. Sonic Frontiers. Sorry, I keep making that mistake. I learned that it is actually Frontiers earlier today.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll get into that in just a little bit. Before we get into the break, though, I want to make a couple announcements. One is that prize submissions are live for Awesome Games Done Quick 2024. If you are crafty or have a unique gaming prize that you would like to submit, go to gamesdonequick.com for more info. Submissions close January 1st. And you can also go to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix to learn more about our shows and see what's coming up this week. And we're going to go to that break and be back in just a few minutes with more 3D Sonic speedrun content. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the GDQ Hotfix. We are in the middle of our 3D Sonic speedrun showcase with our second run, Sonic Frontiers 80%, done once again by Emerald. Emerald, why don't you go ahead and intro and get into the run?
Absolutely. Hi again, guys. Long time no see. We're playing a different game now, very different for how like the speedrun will go. This game is like a very different Sonic game than normal. But before we get into the run, we're going to be playing on normal. Actually, we used to play on easy. The only thing that's going to change is like when I get hit, I'm going to take more damage. But the reason why we do it is for an island later on the easy difficulty, they added more things on some of the like parkour sections to make it easier for newer players. But for us, it actually hinders us because we're going to be, we need less things in the way for a trick that we're going to be using later. But I'll explain that when it comes up. And then of course, we're going to do high speed style. And we're going to start now. I accidentally forgot to do the countdown, but go. So we're going to be loading into our first cyberspace stage here. This is what you would expect more traditionally from a Sonic game. And right away, you're going to see a pretty important movement tech that we're going to be using throughout the run it's called many names, but that was it right there. And that is either called a homing dash, a magnet dash, or controversially the gritty. There was a lot of discussion of what we should name that trick. I prefer the gritty.
I like the last one.
Yeah, I
Sounds
like
good to me.
I like the gritty the most too, actually, Etchy. I'm glad that you said that.
Look, we recently met the person who came up with the name Homing Dash,
Yes.
and they approved of the gritty. So you know what?
Oh.
The gritty wars are over.
The
I thought you
gritty
were
wars
saying you
are
meant the
over.
person who made the gritty. Okay.
That would be
That would be
legendary.
awesome.
So we'll talk more about that trick later, but now we're into the open zone space for Sonic, and this is where, you know, things are opened up. It's an open world. Sonic's movement, if you notice, we're going to be sidestepping a lot everywhere. And the reason for doing that is because it actually allows us to maintain our speed after a boost without actually using any boost, which is very convenient for us. And right away, we're actually going to start to set up a trick. I'm going to kill these soldiers here to get some XP so that we can unlock our first thing from the skill tree, which is Psyloop. This trick was actually kind of discovered more recently, but it saves a lot of time because we actually don't have to end up fighting the first Guardian that's over here that you would normally have to progress through the tutorial. We can get Psyloop now from dying a little early here. So now I have access to my skill tree, and we actually left this soldier alive specifically so that I could sit here and Psyloop for rings. When you're in combat, you only will spawn rings from Psyloop. Outside of combat, you get a bunch of other collectibles. But we're getting to max rings so we can get that, which is power boost. And that lets us be at a speed that is comparable to max speed. And it is very broken for the run. So to answer your question, no, we won't be leveling up speed the entire run. And we're going to start our first major trick and skip in the run. A modified version of what used to be called the Joshua method. And what we're doing is we're getting up on this invisible ceiling and running over all these doors that we would normally have to do tasks to complete. There's a bridge down to the left over there. And here, let me just line this up. Okay, good. But we're not going to spawn that bridge. We're going to jump around a huge invisible wall, hit this spring, and skip an insane amount of things that we would normally have to do. Like play a cyberspace stage, fight another Guardian, get some story. All this happened like this. We skipped so much within the first like 2 minutes of the game. And actually we're setting up getting more XP for another trick. If you want to explain what we're going to be doing to get to skip this island on.
Yeah, so basically, one of the most broken abilities in the game, outside of Psyloop, which is just functional, you know, it's like the main thing you need in the game to progress, is the Stomp ability. It is, like, arguably the best combat ability in the game, on top of allowing some of the best speedrun tech in the game as well. So yeah, M is routing in about 15 skill points here before we reach where we want to go, which is actually this tower. So we are pretty much right where we need to be. And we're going to be seeing two pieces of speedrun tech right here. M is going to be slide launching, which is a boost into a slide. And then he's going to be pulling off a trick known as the slingshot. By using the stomp and then canceling out of that speed with a boost, you can redirect it in any direction you want, flying into the air, going to the boss arena.
Yeah, you can just see just how broken this tech is. We can go really far distances, really high heights. Sonic can basically fly around to wherever he wants, as long as he has an enemy around them. And so this is actually the arena for the boss fight for this island, and we are going to step on a debug trigger right here to just spawn him in. And there he is. Look, he's here to fight. You didn't have to get any... you might be wondering, actually, wait, how are we going to go supersonic? We don't have any Chaos Emeralds. Well, luckily for us, Giganto, he has the 7th Chaos Emerald on his head. And the game does not check to see if you have the other Chaos Emeralds. It just checks to see if you get the last one. And now we can just go supersonic. Now, this fight is going to be over pretty quickly as well. If you didn't know, you can Psyloop the Titans. And I'm doing a very specific string of attacks. So that way, I'm going to knock him down here. I can't actually damage him anymore for this phase. He's going to retaliate. We have to wait for this cutscene. But if I did everything correctly, normally what Giganto would do here is he would do like a laser attack that you would have to avoid. But hopefully with the specific hits that I did, he won't. And then we'll save just a little bit of time and we can do a Psyloop on him earlier than normal for the next phase.
Let's see if he plays along, and he will. Nice. Yeah, usually if he does that laser attack, he's going to jump back, so you can't instantly Psyloop, and you're kind of just stuck in the cutscene for a minute.
Yeah, and the fight
But yeah.
from here is pretty standard. We just stomp a bunch of times. You can see just how powerful stomp is. It's just such a broken move. We're still at level 1 for power, and it's eviscerating his health.
Yeah, it's just so much stronger than any other combat option. It's just, and it's one of the earliest skills you get as well. So it's just so worth to route in, not only for the speedrun tech, but also for combat. Like one or the other would make it worth. Both is just a must.
Yeah. And just like that, we are less than 6 minutes into the run, and we are on the second island. We definitely move fast in this game, and the same thing is going to happen kind of on this island. We have to do a little bit more than we had to on Kronos, but the story is still the same. We're going to be skipping a majority of the islands. Unlucky slingshots. Unlucky slingshots.
Unfortunate. Yeah, so the interesting thing about these speedrun techs in this game is that your position mostly vertical compared to the target. I've never seen this before. It's unfortunate.
You know what?
Oh,
I'm just
man.
gonna run. At this point, I just keep bonking into the arch. I can actually slingshot all the way to where I need to go, but luckily this isn't too big of a deal. Just gotta make sure I don't run into the guardian that's over there.
Yeah, and that's sort of the name of the game here, is just doing all of these slingshots to go from location to location. And a lot of the time, they don't even save that much time. As you can see, we got over here pretty fast anyway.
Yeah, this is where we were trying to end up.
But any time save you can get helps for sure.
So we're also going to be going to those dig spots there. They are consistent spots that will always have the same resources. And every dig spot that we get memory tokens at will always have 8. So very convenient for us for routing. We also got a portal gear, which allows us to open the cyberspace stages very conveniently right by it. So it makes the route work out super well. I'm going to try. This stage is very difficult, and I'm going to go for the more difficult strat here near the end. We'll see if it works out. But for cyberspace stages, we actually have to, from now on, we're going to have to do every mission to get all the Chaos Emerald keys to unlock the Chaos Emeralds. Let's see if I get
So
this.
those missions are red rings. Nice. That gritty is so cool.
Yeah, we skip a lot of the stage with that.
Fortunately, one of the missions is just going fast enough to get an S rank, and obviously we're going to do that as speedrunners.
Yeah, obviously. Look at that. The S rank for this one is 55 seconds, and we destroyed that time. So, but yeah, so we need to get all of the missions done on the first run, just because it saves time, but also because you get bonus keys for finishing all of the missions. This is a small time save here. What I just did is I got a Coco that was on the edge of the chair for cyberspace, and if you map warp, which we're doing right now, before the text comes up, you can actually just skip the text. And the reason that we're map warping is just because it gets us in a more favorable position to go get the blue emerald now, which is one of the 2 main required things to... There we go. Now a slingshot worked. One of the 2 main things that we're going to have to do to progress the story on this island. So after we get the blue Chaos Emerald, the next thing that we have to do is we have to free Knuckles from his cage that's over here. But on the way there, we need to get some more memory tokens so that we have enough to free him. And we're going to be setting up another trick here. I'm not going to be doing the full variation of this trick, but we're going to do a cutscene skip here. So first we have to aggro the Shark Guardian over here. And now we're going to go run over to Knuckles and free him from the cage. But while I'm freeing Knuckles, I'm actually running here. You can't tell because I'm off screen. And I'm running towards Strider right here, another one of the Guardians. And that's going to aggro him. Oh, nice camera.
That's a camera.
We're going to aggro Strider. So I'm not supposed to be able to move right now. I have that text there. We're going to go off the cliff and die. And when you die in a cutscene, the game's like, wait a minute. You're not supposed to be dead in a cutscene. So it assumes that the cutscene is done. And also, one of the cool little tricks that we can do here is I can actually get a speed boost at the beginning. I was moving way faster than you're normally supposed to be able to in this auto-scroller section. It's just kind of one of the side effects of dying during the cutscene if you can like hold the correct direction early on. And I can actually kind of do that again right here by sidestepping and boosting. I run into the spikes there, but as you saw, we were going way faster than we normally would. This is like the normal speed, which is still pretty slow.
Yeah, that is way faster. Unfortunately, we used to be able to skip this whole chase sequence, but it actually got patched out, so sadly we have to actually play through it now. But at least we have tech like that to make it faster.
Yeah. There is a way that like you play this chase out, but like you can still skip this cutscene here. But the launch for it isn't very marathon safe, and I have not gotten very consistent at the trick, so it's just like double inconsistency, probably not great to try to go for here. But that's okay, because this cutscene doesn't really waste that much time in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it is ridiculously hard. Then that is, out of all the tricks in this run, that is like the one you do not do in a run like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did unfortunately take damage, but I only have to do like one side loop there to get back to my power boost speed. And one thing I'd like to note is if you have a keen eye, you might notice that the game is in actually 30 FPS now as opposed to 60. And that is actually a side effect of us doing that cutscene skip. And we actually have a way to very easily change that, but we're gonna talk more about that later. We're gonna keep the game in 30 FPS. Now that we've done all the things that are required, Wyvern is here. I just went over to the side there to step on another debug trigger similar to Giganto, and I'm gonna go for a launch here that's actually kind of hard, so 1 second.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that you're now in 30 frames per second, so the timing of this trick is completely different, and there you go. Nice job.
Good. I was worried about that one. It saves a bunch of time to get to Wyvern early there. So you've been seeing me do slingshots. That's actually what I did there is actually called an HSP, which is short for Hedgehog Space Program. It is the first variation of that launch that we found. Darkspine Sonic found that literally day 2 that this game came out. He's a genius glitch hunter. But basically it allows us to take our momentum like straight upwards. And that was actually the way we used to skip the first island and also the second island too pretty early on. But now we don't really use it as much. Slingshot has more application. We found Slingshot like a few months after because one of the runners was smart enough to be like, hey, I wonder if there's a way that I could do an HSP like further away from an enemy. And we found out that it had so much application because like it literally functions like a slingshot. The further that you pull away from an enemy, the faster you'll get launched and the further away you'll go. And also if you're really close to an enemy, you still kind of get like a little bit of an upward angle. So we use slingshots more so in this run now than anything. I think at least for my strats, that's the only time I'm going to use the old traditional HSP. And here, there's not really anything to note for this section that I just ran through. It's just kind of boosting through this auto-scroller to get to the last Chaos Emerald, so we can go super again.
Yeah, and on top of HSP just not really being as relevant anymore, Slingshot actually has an application where, like the Super Bounce in SA2, if you release it while you're going really fast, the horizontal speed will turn into vertical. Basically just making the Slingshot almost completely irrelevant. Which, yeah, is crazy because we used to see it all over the place in the run.
Yeah, it used to be the bane of runner's existence because it's basically a frame-perfect trick.
Yeah.
And we play the game normally in 60 FPS, so it makes it pretty difficult. So here what we're doing is we actually don't side loop Wyvern. It's actually slower to do that. So we're getting our new move that we got from Knuckles, the Cyclone Kick. And we're doing, after we hit the last hit, I'm doing a dodge roll and then a stomp. And by doing this, we actually skip one of the phases where he would normally hit us, and we immediately go into phase 2 here. And then the second phase is pretty much the same story. We're gonna wait for the missiles to come towards us, parry it back, and then do rinse and repeat the same combo that we were doing before. We do have to position ourselves here in like the top right corner though. It just makes it better for the missiles to actually come towards us. I don't know what you would call it. I guess the AI on the missiles are a little bit wonky sometimes. And even here, like I could get hit again by a missile if I get unlucky.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, game.
Oh.
Okay, get my parry.
And it's like the 5th or 6th time we've parried, but thanks for letting us know.
Yeah. The game's really funny with like, because we skip so much, the game is like, it doesn't know when to show it. Well, when it shows certain like tutorial things, like all this is supposed to happen like on the first island, but we get a lot of the tutorial messages like way later on. We get a guaranteed one here on the next island too, pretty early on. Okay, so Cyclone
Right.
6 kicks Stomp. And now we just have some quick time events. By the way, this whole OST banger. This is my favorite song in the game.
Yeah, it's incredible. Also, by the way, you can spin your control stick here, your analog stick, and it'll on every it counts 8 directions, right? So you have your cardinal directions and your diagonals. Every time you pass one, it counts as an input for mashing. So we'll like mash X and spin the stick at the same time. So you'll see these go by incredibly fast.
Yeah, I'm not that fast at mashing. Here, wait. I think I can show it on screen. Here, wait. And
Sorry,
it
we should just
goes really
that
fast.
was your mashing. He's just really good at mashing, guys.
No, I'm sick. I'm really good at Mario Party. All right, so that's the second island. And again, that one was done in 10 minutes. That was insanely quick. But you might be wondering, hey, is this guy actually going to play the game? Well, guess what? It's time for us to actually play the game. We have to do a lot. We have to do all of the required things now. We have to get all the Chaos Emeralds. We have to get memory tokens to progress the story. So the route has changed so much because there's so much freedom to get a bunch of different things in all sorts of places. But it's definitely one of the more cooler parts of this game too, because it's just like, this is where all the movement and stuff comes in. So what I just did there, actually, you might have noticed I got a portal gear, but I have 2 now. This is the reason why we kept the game in 30 FPS, because when you're in 30 FPS, when you stomp from a high height like that while getting a portal gear, the game dupes it. I don't think we know why it dupes it, but it does.
It's probably just like frame-based physics in the game, which is very funny in modern-day gaming.
Yes. And luckily for
Why
us,
do that still?
we used to, like I said, kind of menu to get rid of the 30 FPS glitch. It's a very easy thing to change. You just have to change any setting in your like options menu from the pause screen. But actually, conveniently for us, when we go into a cyberspace stage, it'll also fix it. So I don't even have to do any extra menuing. Just go into, hey, wait, it hasn't been that long since we've seen this stage. It's Green Forest, but cyberspacey version.
Yeah, even when we stopped running SA2 to run this game for a while, we could not escape the bane of our existence. One of the hardest stages, Green Forest.
Yeah, and this is not an easy stage for this one, for this game either. It's gotten easier through some of the updates in the game, which actually we should probably talk about that too, honestly.
Yeah, so if you played the game when it came out, it probably looks a lot different, and that's because they added like momentum sliders, basically, and you can basically just turn down your deceleration. So you see M will jump here, and that's just to keep his speed exactly the same. You can turn your deceleration all the way down so that you just won't lose speed at all while running or jumping.
Yeah, it was the biggest change to the game. I think that they did it in update 2, but it made the game way faster and way cooler. Because initially you would just like jump and then you would lose all of your speed instantly. So it was kind of weird to get used to the movement again because it was so different. But it was definitely a change for the better.
Yeah, and so whenever you see M jump, like after a boost, it's almost always to maintain that speed. Because when you're in boost, you still have deceleration, like an air boost. So if you just jump out of it, you're actually able to just keep the speed pretty much permanently until you hit the ground.
Yeah, so now we're gonna free Tails this time. Tails is also gonna give us a pretty broken combat move called Cross Slash. We're gonna be using that for the last bosses in the game. It's a very strong and fast attack.
Yeah, it's really fortunate for us that the developers just decided that some of the best attacks in the games would be mandatory. Very nice.
Yeah, for sure. It does kind of get annoying sometimes because it's very easy to accidentally trigger those combat moves sometimes. Nice. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Cross Slash, for example, the button combo to trigger it is boost and jump. You use that combo a lot. Like, why did they do that?
Let me just say, we be boosting and jumping all over the place. Okay, so coming up is a pretty big skip. We don't get to skip the whole island like the other skips. So if we're comparing, this is kind of a small skip in comparison. But this is a chase sequence with the knight this time. where normally you're locked into this automated section, but what we're gonna do immediately at the start is we're gonna break out of the automation to make the whole sequence go faster. So first, we're gonna do a boost jump here on this slope, ram into an invisible box right there, and we are able to escape the automation. So what we're gonna do now is we have this downtime while we wait for Squid to get to the end, because we still have to let Squid complete his sequence. But during this downtime, we're actually gonna get the memory tokens you saw there, and I'm launching myself over where we need to go soon. And Squid's over there, he's moving kind of slow though. I'm gonna try to do something here where we manipulate his AI to go a little faster. You just do a launch here, and then we boost and go back here. And now he's moving a little faster than normal.
He's flying.
But yeah, like I said, we still have to wait for him. So we're taking this downtime to activate this cyberspace stage. We're not gonna go into it, but we are gonna just activate it so that when we're done with this, we can go immediately into it. And now we're gonna try to skip a cutscene here. Hold on, takes a little bit of focus. That should be good. There's a cutscene that plays at the end of the sequence. We actually touch the end of the sequence and die at the same time.
Nice.
So we completed the sequence, and if I did it right, I would actually spawn at the top of this portal, but I landed a little too far away from the ledge. But it saved a ton of time overall.
Yeah, there's like so many different parts of that you can actually get that don't save so much time. Also, if you played this stage and didn't like the drift part, you can just jump over the panels.
Yeah.
The only thing that activates the drift are those green panels, so just don't hit them. Oh, there you go.
Well, I hit it. Another thing you can do that the game just doesn't tell you is if you do accidentally hit them, you can neutral stick, and you will still slide for a little bit, but you'll stop way faster. And then you can just run again. Whoa, I need that. Thank you, game. If you notice, I'm also sidestepping a lot and trying to... Oh, see? It's scary.
Ooh, saved you.
Jeez. A little wobbly today. I'm trying my best to quick step in cyberspace as well. Because if you quick step and push up against a wall, you actually, in cyberspace specifically, you get pushed a little bit forward, get a little bit of speed, but you can also maintain your speed from the speed pads that are around. So what I try to do is I try to hit the speed pad and then like slam up against the wall so that like later on I can hit another speed pad and stack the speed. Okay, I have to do a really hard slingshot here. Just give me a sec. I really don't like this one. Yep, and that's why, because the pulley's there. And now Squid's coming.
There's a lot of things that get in the way. Nice. Just barely going to make it to the wall here. Going to be able to climb up to the red emerald. Awesome.
Yeah.
Normally you have to play like a whole mini game, go through a whole underground tunnel section to get over here, but we're just skipping all of that because, hey, we can fly through the air. Why not?
Yeah, and that specific slingshot is really annoying because there's a pulley that can get in your way that I targeted, as you saw. And you can't do a slingshot off of a pulley. It has to be an enemy.
Now back to the same island.
Yeah, now we're back. We actually are skipping a huge platforming section that's in that floating island there with like it's like a laser tower. It takes a really long time to get through right there. But we just slingshotted over here and now we're fine. So the literal only reason to talk to Tails there is to progress the story, just because he unlocks that computer for us. Now we're going to make our way over there. And yeah, we are just zooming with these slingshots.
Yeah, slingshot just, it makes the routing so interesting because you could, the question isn't like, can I go here? It's, is it worth it to go there first? And so it's just so interesting. Like you literally saw us go to the other side of the map and back just because it's slightly faster. Because slingshot's just that good.
So now we're playing the hacking minigame, which honestly doesn't really have a lot to talk about. It's pretty simple. When you're shooting the white bullets, you block the white bullets, and same with the black bullets. Our goal here is to just store up our meter at the bottom to do the ultimate attack and try to be shooting the core as much as possible. Very, very simple. And also, it is the same patterns every time, so there's no surprises here. Just kind of one of the things you have to do. And we're going to be seeing that a couple more times later on, but this is the only one for Chaos Island. And so now, basically same kind of goal. We're going to go a little bit off the path here. And instead of making a beeline towards cyberspace stage, we have to go off to the side here and get some of the consistent dig spots to get memory tokens, because we have to have a total of 140 for the final tails at the end of this. So we're going to go over here and get this one by the cyberspace stage. Now, we could play the cyberspace stage if we had a portal gear, but it's a long stage. The stages we pick are very specific because not only are they convenient to get to in the route, but they're also just insanely fast. And you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about with the next cyberspace stage, 3-2.
Yeah, funny with 3-2 is that one was not convenient for a long time, but a buddy of ours was convinced to make it convenient, and here it is still in the route to this day, so ended up working out. Another big slingshot here all the way across the map. I love that one. It's very cool.
Yeah, that one's cool. You get to see the whole world below you. And it's all to get this portal gear, and now we're going to make our way over here.
I really can't understate how big the slingshot was as a discovery in this game. It just makes the game so much more fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll say slingshot got discovered, I think, like about a year ago now, like December, I think. And I was considering not really playing this game too much anymore because it was just like, it was still going through a lot of changes. There wasn't a lot of fast stuff, and like not having slingshot, like it's such a game changer. It just makes the run less cool. But here we are in a really cool stage, our only 2D stage in the run. And that's on purpose because they're kind of slow generally, but this one has something very special about it. We're able to do a trick called 3D and 2D. So I'm locked on a 2D plane here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to get this red ring. I'm going to hit this spring, and it's actually going to put us into a 3D state. And then we do a gritty off of that spring there, and we skip the whole level, basically. The whole second half of it, really. It's so fast, and it's so convenient. It's like another one of those lucky speedrun breaks that we catch that, like, we need to get all the red rings so we can complete all the missions. But it just so happens that that spring is right before, we have to go a little further to get the red ring. But then there's nothing else that we have to get until that last red ring right before the goal portal. So...
yeah, and that last second half of the stage takes forever and is really repetitive and boring. So really awesome that we can skip it. Actually makes the stage fast as well.
So here's an example of letting go of the slingshot too. We get some more vertical height, and we can get up here to the white emerald very easily. Skipping a ton of platforming over there.
Yeah.
That is also very slow.
Yeah, we may not be able to skip the whole island or anything, but we're sure going to try to skip what we can.
So there is a slingshot that I can do to get all the way over there, but we're taking a small detour so I can get this dig spot here. But the route that I'm doing, actually, we don't need to get like any of the purple coins, which we'll talk more about later. And if you're familiar with the purple coins, don't worry, we're still going to see Big the Cat. He's still going to be here, but we don't have to do as much fishing as we used to do later on in the game. And welcome to the Nuts and Bolts minigame. We have to play this to get a Chaos Emerald. I wish we didn't, but we do. And some very funny things can happen with the nuts and bolts in these boxes. If you do the slide into the purple boxes like I'm doing, basically what can happen is the game can delete your nuts. And they don't actually delete your nuts. It actually puts them under the platform. They spawn in the lava, so you can't get them anymore. Kind of sad. But it only wastes it only wastes time if you do it too much. Like if you lose too many of them, then it's like, okay, well now you have to go to some weird stray boxes. But pretty consistently, even if you lose some of them, this island here that I'm on now has so many that spawn that we won't really have to worry about getting any extras.
Yeah, at first we thought they were actually just despawning, and then we realized they're just spawning too low, which is a weird thing.
Yeah, it's
like,
weird.
Okay.
It's weird that the attack changes how they spawn when the box breaks, but...
yeah. We've learned to play around it, though, at least.
Gonna do a slingshot off of these guys.
Yeah.
Oh, that bird is super dead. JK, he's alive. We don't hurt birds here. Well, actually, we might have to hurt a bird later.
Yeah, unfortunate, but it's for the sake of going fast. So
It is for the sake of going fast.
That's what must be done.
It's not a real bird. He's a little robot cyber bird.
Robot guy.
So
We're
now
gonna
we're
see
getting
all of the cutscenes we've been missing.
they're stacking up. Okay, so we get the yellow emerald here, and this is where the bird slingshot comes into play. Normally it's like really hard to like actually hit these enemies. So what we're gonna do is like put them here in the air, stomp on him, and then run to the side there so we can use him as a slingshot. And see, we didn't see him die. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, it's just taking a nap.
But this, the old way we used to do this is we actually used to map warp and then do a slingshot from the spawn to get over here. But then somebody found a way that we could do the slingshot off of the bird like so. And we get over to the bridge minigame, which this minigame here actually recently got a trick discovered called bridge skip, where you can change your game to 30 FPS and do like a stomp after homing attacking an enemy. After you hit the first enemy when playing this, you can jump and then stomp. And if you position yourself oh so perfectly, you can make it through the cracks of these springs and make it all the way to the bottom. It's really fast, but it's really difficult, and I have not learned it. It's still pretty recent though, which is why I haven't taken the time to do it yet.
Yeah, and funny enough, the last time I did an event run, I almost discovered that strat, but we never looked into it because, I don't know, we just forgot, I guess.
Yeah, Don actually was doing a 100% run
enemies.
and accidentally did it.
Yeah.
We didn't.
I just didn't figure out the stomp part.
Yeah, we didn't know like the stomp application of it yet, but he got like a weird jump off of an enemy during his run. But yeah, now it's actually his skip.
Yeah, and I was just like, yeah, we should definitely look into that after the run, and we did not. A few months later, someone else did.
Yeah, I mean, also to be fair, like it was at the beginning of the event too, so.
Mm-hmm.
It was
and yeah,
we have the rest
I
of the
was
week
playing
to
at
chill.
60 FPS too, so it's crazy because 30 does make it a lot easier as well.
Yeah.
Also, Sega's massive respect for bridges here.
For some insanely weird reason, I think it's so that the player is like, there's no way that they could miss that the bridge is going down. But every single cutscene where you spawn a bridge is unskippable, and they're all very long.
It's like some of the only unskippable cutscenes in the game.
Yeah, but
So dramatic too.
it is so dramatic. They have the orchestral song behind it coming down, and we're not even gonna use the bridge. Bye, bridge. See you later, man.
Yep. Didn't even touch it once.
Nope, we're just gonna slingshot our way over here, get our last dig spot, and we have exactly 140.
Perfect.
And the next skip is very complicated to talk about, but it is a very important skip to the run. If you remember, at this point, now that we're coming to the end of Chaos Island here, you would normally have to play pinball. But we're going to skip that. And me breaking that box there was actually a pretty specific part for the setup of this trick. What we're going to be doing is, by breaking that box, it actually saves our autosave location. So we're going to load immediately into pinball here. And as soon as I have control, I'm going to quit out to the main menu. And by doing this, it's going to load us from the autosave. And because we set our position with that box break, we're going to be putting ourselves closer to a cliff here to try to die. But the game is going to wait about 7 seconds to load us back into pinball because we did quit out at pinball. We're supposed to be doing that right now. This might not work. We're going to skip the cutscene. I had to pause there because we still do... Sonic is still falling. Maybe. Hey,
Nice.
Let's go. Okay, good. So we died in pinball. And just like before when we died in the cutscene, the game's like, whoa, man, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be able to die during pinball. So we're going to die again here to progress the story flag. Let's see if it works. Hopefully it does. It should. Good. Sometimes it doesn't work, and it's very sad. And then you have to play pinball anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, basically you die and the game is like, what do I do? Starts panicking and it's like, well, I don't have any directions, so boss time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very nice for us. We had to spend so many like there was so many people spending so much time on trying to find that skip initially, because playing pinball is so bad. Like, you can just get really unlucky and get random bounces that give you gutter balls. The way that pinball functions as well, you're trying to get red rings to increase your score multiplier, but you actually can make the red ring spawn faster if you have less lives. So the optimal way to play it is to burn all of your lives early to get red rings to spawn faster, and just hope that you don't get a random gutter ball.
Yep. It's a very dangerous mini game. People hated it, and they fought tooth and nail to find a skip. That it was gonna happen, regardless.
Yeah. And this fight is pretty simple, honestly. We wait for him to stop spinning, and then we do a punch and a dodge so that we can get behind the shield, and we end up between the shield and his face. We can do a little side loop to just touch his head there, side loop him up into the air, and then increase the damage multiplier like crazy, and just like immediately go into phase 2 here.
Okay, but do we get the marathon luck here and get insta shield?
Let's see. Where this shield spawns after in this phase is random, so let's see what happens.
Well, it's not bad. It's just not the fastest.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, can you move, Sonic? That was weird. I couldn't control him for a sec. Okay, okay. I didn't have to leave it that much.
Clipped him. Yeah.
So yeah, we just do the same thing here, and now we can cross slash him until he dies.
Yeah, and as you can see, it's absolutely melting his health. Very good combat ability.
Yeah, now the fight's pretty much done. We just have to do a couple more quick time events here. But this is like one of the coolest sequences in any Sonic game ever made, I swear.
Yeah, you liked Sonic holding a regular sword? What about a sword that is about 50 times his size?
He's literally holding a skyscraper in his hands. It's insane.
And I love also that they integrate Psy-Loop into this as well.
Oh, yeah. It's a nice touch, because I feel like a lot of times they just don't do anything with Supersonic. They just make him fly around and look cool, and then he kind of like rams into like bosses and stuff.
I also think this is most people's like first time thinking, wait, I can Psy-Loop with Supersonic?
Yeah. One of the most anime moments in any Sonic game ever.
So awesome.
All right, that was Chaos Island. We're gonna be moving on to a very short island, actually. This next one is Rhea Island, and the whole purpose. This is actually, it's not really a secret. It's kind of just the backside of Kronos Island. But there's gonna be these towers that are around that we have to do some insanely difficult platforming, to progress the story. At the top of each of these towers, you get a lore dump, kind of to get more backstory on the game and what's going on. Why all the Titans are being like this, where your friends are, all that stuff, the history of the island. We're gonna skip most of it.
Oh, that strat's still so cool to me.
Yeah. So that's actually... Oop, I'm scared. Okay.
Okay.
That slingshot there is actually kind of more recent. That enemy that we used there was one of the last HSPs that existed in the game. It's still actually faster to HSP that enemy, because the more vertical launch is definitely faster. But we can do a slingshot where we stomp off the side and still manage to get it. Also, that one is pretty difficult to set up because you're suspended in midair and you have to land on a platform that's just kind of floating there.
Yeah, Rhea Island is one of the most technical in the game because of just the amount of tech that you need to use to get through it. And if you mess up at all, you're losing a lot of time. So it is really cool to watch if it goes well. It's probably one of the most fun segments to watch, I would say.
Yeah. And what's really crazy is like this is definitely the shortest island, but still is getting route changes. There's even a more recent route change that I saw that the world record holder has been doing recently that I have not learned yet, and it is very recent. So we're gonna do another.
This is a great time
launch.
to check out the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Anaku is a very, very talented runner. And he's crushing.
And another awesome slingshot, kind of again in place of an HSP. eliminating as many frame perfect inputs that we need to do, right?
Yeah, the less HSPs, the better, just to build up consistency here. So what we're using is like we're putting some distance between us and an enemy so that we can set up a slingshot, and we're going to use the same enemy again to go backwards towards the last tower here.
Very clean. Perfect.
Now this is the most difficult one for me here because we have to jump, suspend ourselves in the air, and then land on an even like, well, it's I guess the same size as the platform that we used after the first tower, but it feels a lot harder just because it's like flat. So we jump like this. Gritty over here. Ah, yeah.
Oh no.
That happens.
Yeah. Yeah, having to gritty onto a very tiny platform is just so difficult, but it's really fast if you're able to get it.
There we go. I stomped on it this time to try to make it a little bit easier. Good. Oops. All right, and then we have one more slingshot to do with this enemy here at the bottom of this tower. Grab the rail, Sonic. Do a gritty there. So what happened there is I messed up the inputs, but I also broke line of sight while doing so. And if you break line of sight, and I actually messed that one up too. If you break line of sight, you mess up the trick and you have to reset it up, unfortunately. Which, if you haven't noticed, I try very, very hard to not touch my camera stick while I'm doing a slingshot, because if you move your camera at all, it's very, very likely that you will lose the target, basically.
Yeah, you would think by line of sight, you're talking about the camera looking at the enemy, but it's actually Sonic looking at the enemy. So if there's like a structure, like say one of the towers in between him and the enemy, he will lose that targeting, which is a really interesting way to do it. But it is nice because, yeah, we don't have to mess with the camera at all and makes it a lot easier if you know what you're doing. Yeah,
it's really funny too, because breaking line of sight can be from something as simple as a pencil-thin tree. So it definitely can get frustrating at times, but...
Yeah.
So now we're on Arenas Island, and this island has probably seen the most route changes out of any of the islands. I'm actually doing a more recent route that I learned, I think, like this week.
Yeah, the route has changed probably about like 3 or 4 times in the last month, so it's kind of hard to keep up these days.
Oh boy. Come on, Sonic. You can side loop it. So we're getting some memory tokens over here. We're going to collect a lot more stray tokens, which are these tokens that are supposed to be at the end of parkour sections. And that's because there's just a lot less dig spots around for us to get, and we have to get a total of 190, I believe. No, I went too far. Please?
Yeah, the philosophy of this has basically become to... instead of, because if you play this game casually, you probably know how broken the fishing is at this point, right? And we used to go out of our way to collect so many fishing coins so that we could use big, but it does take a while. So the philosophy has basically become to just not fish as much as possible, but that means you have to collect a lot of these stray memory tokens out in the open world.
Yeah, and it can be really difficult too, because you can easily mess up, fall down, and like have to relaunch from somewhere else. And here's Big the Cat. And he's such a good guy that, yeah, we're broke, but he'll let us fish for once for free. And we still get the tokens that are associated with it. So we get a coelacanth. It's a big fish. It's crazy that they put so much time into the detail for these models, but we're not going to be fishing, but we're finally going to let Sonic cook.
Let him cook.
So this is actually Monster Hunter DLC, that free DLC that got added to the game post-release. There was a costume, and then they added this cooking mechanic that you can do. And hold on, I have to time this. Okay. So tasty.
So tasty.
This isn't going to waste much time, but I really wanted to show off what happens if you don't cook it well. So I'm just going to mash A real quick. Well, some people prefer it this way.
Would you like to try?
So we got enough from just the cooking and the one fish to be able to buy a portal gear and some Chaos Emerald keys. And so we're still getting resources from Big, but just not as much. Wow. I'm getting kind of unlucky with some of these slingshots. I'm losing my reticle pretty quickly. But we got to get some memory tokens here. Gonna go over to the side. Sonic.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, these memory tokens are really not easy to collect.
Bro.
And there's so many of them we need to do.
Yeah.
So easy to overshoot. They're so small, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hitboxes, I'd say for the most part, are kind of generous, but like when you're flying super fast in the air and you have to like hit one like from really far away, it can be really difficult to aim at it.
It feels very nice when you're able to get all of these things perfectly, though.
Yeah. So I did miss one there, but that's not the end of the world. I'm able to miss some and have it be okay. I'm not going to spend the time to go through the trick rings there to try to back it up. So this side of the island, we're actually supposed to use a bridge to get over, but we're going to just slingshot over here. We're supposed to not get here until way later. But we're going to go up here, get another Chaos Emerald key, another memory token, a dig spot, and then we're going to play 4-5. There's actually a comparable route, like time-wise, where you do end up fishing a bunch, and you get more Chaos Emerald keys so that you can skip this stage. It's just kind of up to preference, like whether or not you want to cut out fishing, or if you don't like this stage enough to cut out the stage. But there are some people who don't really like this one in particular, because there's not a whole lot you can do to make the stage fast. And some of the things that you can do to make the stage fast are kind of annoying, easy to mess up, and then you have to play like a minute-long stage again, which is kind of not ideal.
Yeah, this is one of the only stages in this game that wasn't based on a stage from an old game, and yeah, who let them cook on this one?
Yeah, it's just straightforward
it's pretty
path,
fun,
and there's no enemies really to gritty off of. Not a lot of like convenient places to do them off of springs.
I mean, this stage is kind of cool when you're playing it casually because there's so many diverging paths and like just interesting things that you can go through, but as a speed run, it gets very boring very quick.
Yeah. Luckily, though, with Update 2, one of the things we can do to make the stage a little faster is you can do like a boost jump after the ramps to just go like a little bit faster. Cut some of the height out too. But yeah, so we have like a couple more cyberspace stages. The next one in particular is like probably my favorite one on the run, but it's also one of the most difficult because it's so strict on the ring count.
Oh yeah, I mean, there is a leniency of 0, so you have to get every ring, otherwise you're replaying the stage.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of time loss.
Not very fond of this jump, but help.
Okay. No.
Yeah, this one's rough because you have to do a gritty backwards, which normally isn't as useful in a open zone, but in some instances like there, it's just nice to get like a good launch backwards there. And I have to make sure that I get these strays too, because I did already miss one. So I want to make sure that I get as little backups as possible. We're going to do a modified kind of, it's like a slingshot, it's kind of an HSP. It's a weird one. Right there. Now we're going to slingshot across the island.
I love all these little movements to just get so many memory tokens. There's a ridiculous amount of them scattered, and like honestly, this is always the way I envision the game to be played as a speedrun, not as much as like the skips, but like just the random like movement, jumping around everywhere, going through trick ring to trick ring. Very cool.
We're going to do another slide launch up here. Oh. Hey,
well, I think that takes you out, hopefully.
Yeah, this is fine.
There you
I
go.
can just do one of these. Hell. There we go. I accidentally pressed boost very barely there too, so if you burn your boost in the air, that's it. You don't have your boost anymore, so you have to be kind of careful with it.
Yeah, Frontiers is fighting back a little bit right now, but we're getting there.
Oh, I still got that.
That works.
We take
as long as you get the memory token.
Okay, so we do a long one over to here. Oh, I had a feeling that was going to happen. It got cloudy, and I was like, I don't know where I am. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, if you're ever worried about trying to make it to the location you're trying to be, parry like Emma's doing. It completely stalls you in the air. And you can even get an extra jump out of it as well. Very broken.
Yeah. One of the downsides to the pop-in in this game, like I was kind of just explaining there, is like it got kind of foggy. So that can make it kind of difficult to see where I'm going. It doesn't really affect things very often, but for that slingshot specifically, it is a little bit scary because I just didn't know exactly where I was supposed to stop. So the memory token route for this route that we're doing is actually pretty specific. I ended up with just one more that I'm supposed to have here because I took a little detour for that slingshot during the fog. So things line up just so perfectly. Like, we're really trying to optimize these routes these days as much as possible.
Yeah, and just because of like how massive these islands are and how many like random little things you have to account for, the routes have changed a lot, but now we have a really good understanding of what we can actually do on this island. So the routes changing so often just kind of makes sense as we get a better understanding of the game.
There's our second to last hacking minigame. We have one more. That one I kind of have to pay a little bit more attention to. The first one is like not so much, but like there's a pattern kind of early on where it's just like you have to bob and weave through some of the spray of the different colors. But not too bad. And hey, guess what? Another bridge, guys. Isn't that so neat?
Another one.
Another unskippable bridge cutscene.
Very dramatic, very cinematic.
This is what it's all about.
This is what it's all about. The first time I saw these cutscenes, I was moved to tears.
Shed a single tear. And this time, again, the bridge is going to be shedding a single tear because also we will never be using this one either.
We're just never going on these bridges ever. I'm literally just turning around after this. See ya, bridge.
We were already over there, sorry. And bye-bye. We will never see you again.
Bridge. So we're doing some more slingshots to get a few memory tokens, but we're making our way over to the coolest cyberspace stage in the run, I swear. It's just so neat. Gotta get
I can't remember if this one is... I think this one's original? I can't remember what stage it would even be. Maybe someone can correct me, but I feel like this one is original.
Like if it's based off another Sonic stage? Yeah, I don't know. I think this one might be original, but my like knowledge on like the specific layouts of like, say like the Unleashed stages that a lot of these levels are based off of, I don't know.
That's fair. A lot of the stages in this island are actually original, which is pretty cool because some of the design is very fun. But yeah, like Em was mentioning earlier, there is absolutely no ring leniency. So every single ring you see him collect is necessary. We're going to need a total of 70 here.
I wanted to go fast for that one just to be cool, but I should have played it safe. It's okay. Unfortunately, any hit or death, we have to reset the stage, so.
Yeah. All right, there you go.
There we go.
Yeah,
Nice
even
and
playing
safe.
that one safe is kind of scary because you can't really see where you're going.
Yeah, you just kind of have to hold vaguely in the direction.
And there you go. We have all of our rings. Now we just need to get to the end in one piece and collect the rest of the red rings.
Whoa. Nice and easy.
Very cool, pretty there. Last red ring collected.
There we go.
And skipping that entire last section to the end.
I gotta be very careful in this section. When you slide past the enemies like that, you can't turn the camera there. And if you run into one of those guys, you can just have one of the rings fall off of the edge there when they like break away from you. You can pick all the rings up again if it happens sometimes, but I've definitely had it where one ring just fell through the crack. It's just gone.
Yeah. Very sad losing your run this deep into something so silly.
Yeah, because having to replay that stage 2 that deep in, it's a minute. Well, actually, it's like 40 seconds.
It may as well be a minute.
Yeah. We're getting some memory tokens here in this parkour section that are just kind of spread about. Get this dig spot with the red emerald. Try not to go too close to the, I think that's the hermit Coco there.
Mm-hmm.
You get a little bit of a text bubble if you go too close to him. Good. That's fine.
Yeah, I really love all this movement, collecting these memory tokens. It's so cool.
Make our way to this portal gear. Try to see if I can get an extra. During the downtime of the portal gears, you can't really do anything. Good. So it's just wise to try to get an extra memory token if possible. Big spot. And I want to be really safe on these strays, so I'm going to get this one too.
Yeah, we're already at 121 out of the 190 that we're going to need in total. Also approaching the total of the vault keys we're going to need to get all the Chaos Emeralds as well.
Whoops. I hit the tree. There we go.
That's a cool one. Yeah, I mean, these sort of things were not possible before we knew the game as well as we do. Knowing the location of every single stray and routing in an ability to get every single one fast enough to not fish at all. It's honestly been a huge progression of the community. Ton of slingshots back to back. Also collecting some memory tokens on the way.
Yeah, lots of memory tokens. This part actually takes like a decent bit of focus, so that's why I'm kind of like I'm just being quiet now.
Yeah, usually you take that focus and you know, take the moments to focus during a skip or a stage, but this is just routing in the open zone is actually that difficult. It's very cool.
Yeah, and a lot of this movement is really fun. Like if you're interested in maybe running this game at all, I highly suggest trying to learn like the Aranos route and just running around doing this like memory token collection and stuff. It's so fun. This is like the thing.
It's a great way to learn the movement too.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great way to learn the movement, get all the fundamentals down of the game. Rip. And also it's just like, damn, there we go. You can get really creative with some of the movement too. Like there's definitely like optimal ways to do stuff, but there's a lot of backups and a lot of like cool different launches and stuff you can do. There we go.
Yeah, I also love this movement here. I don't know why. This one's just so fun to me where you're just going from place to place, never really landing on the ground, getting a ton of memory tokens.
Oh! That's all right.
Yeah, that is also the other side of that, though, is it's very difficult for everything to go correctly because of how many tricks you're doing back to back.
There we go. You can
just
see
like that was about 40 memory to 50 actually collected in the span of like a minute or two.
Yeah. Super fun. Kind of hard because again, a lot of those ones that are just like kind of suspended in the air, it takes a while to get used to like controlling Sonic and being able to like actually hit them. But again, super fun to practice. This is the last cyberspace stage of the run. It's very fast. Blink and you miss it. I'm gonna go for kind of a risky strat here at the start. See if I get it.
Nice. Right into the ring from a gritty. Perfect. Yeah, this is a very interesting route to actually be able to get all of the red rings and all of the rings you need as well. The S rank requirement for the stage is so fast. Most of us thought this was never actually going to be able to do all missions in one run, but we absolutely annihilated there. Even on not a perfect run, there's like a little bit of time loss, but still saving like 7 seconds on the S rank.
Yeah. Dude, the fact that it's like we do all the speedrun shots and it's still within like 7 seconds is pretty insane. Like that one is a pretty tight stage to get an S rank in.
Yeah, it's really not meant to be an all missions route, but we made it possible.
Gonna do a little bit of a launch here to get this memory token. Try not to hit the trick ring. It's fine. I still have stomp though.
Yeah, the hitboxes are so close to each other. You gotta throw the needle there. All right. Nice memory tokens.
This one. You can sometimes get that spring there, but that one's pretty difficult to get. I think I'll be fine. I only need 2 more, so.
Yeah. There's the ones right next to the end. Very nice. Only 2 memory tokens away from being able to complete the island. Big slingshot here to take us right into some more memory tokens, if all goes well. Nice. Oh, there you go. And one more. Oh, dang.
Sad. That's fine.
All right.
I can back up this one pretty easily. I just have to go over here.
Oh yeah, that's a very nice backup. Does not take long at all. And you can get them from side looping, but it's just completely RNG. And sometimes you can do like 30 side loops and not get anything. So
Yeah. So I had a run the other day when I was practicing for this. And I made it to the end and I was like, oh, need one memory token. So I was like, all right, well, let's side loop and hope. And it took me 1 minute to get just the one memory token that I needed. So it's just
Yeah, it could
not
be
something
2
you can rely on
seconds.
in a run.
yeah, it could be 2 seconds or 1 minute, and you don't know which one you're getting. So
Yeah.
not very fun.
All right, so last hacking minigame. This one, again, just like another one I kind of just have to pay attention to because there are these trails of bullets here that like I kind of have to just avoid. Like I'm not going to be able to shoot them fast enough to avoid them all. Or to armor through them all, I guess I should say. Good.
Yeah, and we're really trying to get those charge shots here that activate with the trigger because they just do so much damage. But here is just about the end of this fight. One more charge shot will definitely do it. There you go.
Nice.
All right, and we are certainly in the end game here. Not much left, but the final boss of the game. Let's go.
Yeah. It's kind of weird how the pacing of this goes because we do the hacking minigame and then we have to wait for it to load out. And now we're out. Now we have to watch the door open. Very cool door,
From
though.
many different angles.
Yeah, unironically, a cool door, though. I actually really like that. But now we got the game's like, hey, guess what? You open this door. This is the hallway you should go down now. And we just very easily jump to sell our way into here. And
The final Chaos Emerald.
yeah, we got the final Chaos Emerald, and now we're in the final fight. Supreme is a little bit weird because we have to do certain things depending on the phase, so we wait for that. Sometimes he agrees with us and he stays in place here. What I'm going to try to do is refresh my cross slashes about every 30 hits. And you can see he's trying to do an animation of a swing, but while we're doing the cross slash attack, he actually gets trapped like in a slowdown while we hit him. So that's why we want to try to refresh it and keep cross slashing him as much as possible.
Yeah, that's a lot harder than it looks, by the way. Sometimes, one, the ability doesn't want to work, and two, sometimes Supreme does not want to play fair, so...
Yeah, sometimes it is random. He can just retaliate, and then you just kind of have to eat the time lost. He's giving me a very nice pattern here for where he's going, so I can just do the same thing again until his health stops going down. Then we dodge roll away.
And
And
that was
now we have
almost
to-
like a perfect Supreme.
Oh. Now I just got to break one of his little toys. I actually can't hit him anymore until I break one of the little triangles there, and which will cause this to happen. I'm sure a lot of people got hung up on that their first time playing.
Yeah.
I definitely spent
Yeah.
way too long on this fight because I didn't know that's what I was supposed to do.
Took me a good 5 minutes or so.
Oh no, one more stomp.
That's it.
And yeah, so time is not now. Time is not now, but that is the end of like most of the gameplay. The time for us ends after we hit our final QTE, which is after Supreme dies here, and then we watch a little bit of cutscenes. But that's basically the run.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and do any shout outs y'all want to do then while this is happening.
Okay, word. Shout outs to the Sonic Frontiers and the SA2 community. Both are like extremely great communities to be a part of. They're both very active. They have a lot of runners. And they both have great resources, I would say, to like get into the games. So if you're ever feeling like you thought this run was cool or you thought SA2 was really cool, definitely check them out. I think they're both pretty easy games to start playing. Like you don't need like a huge amount of knowledge to do your first run, and then you can just grow over time. But yeah, shout outs. Definitely if you guys want to see more runs like this, I stream on Twitch. I got my YouTube recently hit 10K subs, which is pretty neat. Do a lot of Sonic content on there. And yeah, it's Emerald on everything. If you see the thing at the bottom of the stream that has my @ you can click on that. And Dawn, you want to do any shout outs for yourself?
If you're interested in hearing a lot more in-depth explanations about Frontiers, SA2, really any Sonic speedrun, me and M both make content on YouTube talking about speedruns and doing challenges and stuff for M in particular. So definitely make sure to check us out on YouTube. Same names that you see on screen there. And yeah, in particular, I have an SA2 video coming out soon, over a year in the making. So that'll be in the next couple weeks if you want to check that out.
Yeah, Don puts a lot of effort into his YouTube content, so definitely give him some love. He's really close to 10K too, dude. He's like right on the edge. So
I am like very close. So if you want to help support that, Don SR on YouTube. We're
right
within a few hundred.
Definitely go sub to Dawn on YouTube then, everybody, and follow both of them on Twitch as well. Like Emerald's saying, you can just hover over his name on the title and click the little heart, and then you're good. And if you're watching on YouTube after the fact, hi. You can just go check the description, and you'll see all the links to their Twitch channels there as well.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you again for having us on, by the way.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad I got to have y'all on. I was very excited.
Absolutely.
Always down for good old Sonic, supersonic goodness.
I love me some Sonic runs, man. Of course, I'm biased. You know, I'm a little biased. It might be like the main thing I do or whatever. But I mean, how cool is it that we play a game that's meant to be fast and we make it even faster?
It is kind of the perfect franchise for speedrunning when you think about it.
It's
Yeah,
true.
for sure. All right, we got about 20 seconds until the QT comes up.
And yeah, thank you, Emerald, for running 2 different games back to back is always stressful and hard. So thank you for taking it like a champ.
Yeah, no problem. It just worked out that I'm very much in shape for both of these games right now, so it worked out pretty well.
Perfect. Are you ever not in shape for Sonic Adventure?
Nah, I can't stop playing that game. It's addicting, dude. It's
really
too fun.
is.
All right, here we are. Last 3. 1, 2, and time's coming up. Time.
GG.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much for being here with us for this first half of this Sonic 3D speedrun showcase block thing, whatever you want to call it, special, one-off showcase. We are not done yet. We have one more Sonic run left. It's going to be Sonic Dream Team 80% by Witherman. That'll be coming up right after this break. Before we get into that break, just want to make one quick announcement. February 17th and 18th, we are having a celebration of Black speedrunning talent in Blackjoy. We're going to have Unapologetically Black and Fast. It's a speedrun marathon. Submissions are going to be open through January 9th, so they're open now. Use the command !UBAF in chat for more information. And we're going to go to that break now and see you all in just a little bit.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hello, and welcome back, everybody, to the GDQ Hotfix. We are in the final run of our Sonic 3D Speedrun Showcase with a brand new Sonic game, Sonic Dream Team. Super excited about this one. Witherman, take it away.
Well, hello. Thanks for having me. I've got a lovely crew with me today, the Dream Team, if you will. But first and foremost, my name is Witherman. I am primarily a Sonic Adventure era speedrunner, known for Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. But speaking of dreams, you can't have one without another, you know? Sonic Dream Team has been the apple of my eye recently. This game is super cool, and I am super excited to be one of the first people to show off this game ever. So as Knuckles is on screen, take it away, Hib.
Oh, what a dream. What a guy. Look at him. He's just doing his thing. And yeah, Wither's going to be doing their thing with this. This is a pretty sweet game, I'd say. I don't have anywhere near as much experience as the rest of the comms on here. They'll be telling you a whole lot more about what this game has. I'll probably just be swooning over Knuckles. But I'm going to leave them to say hello.
I guess I'll go next. I'm King Rhodes TN. I primarily run like Sonic 3D Blast or some random other Sonic games, but I've enjoyed this game since it's come out. I've done a lot of the routing and ILs to kind of try to find our best pathing for this game. There's gonna be a lot of levels coming at you super fast. So, and we'll throw it over to the last guy here.
Yo, hi everyone, my name's HUD601. I too have been learning how to speedrun Sonic Dream Team. This is my first 3D Sonic speedrun, and it is a heck of a run. You lot are in for a real treat. The dreamers are here.
And that
Dreamers.
was perfectly timed, as I'm going to go ahead and get started now. Time begins now, and we're going to just immediately rock through this tutorial. So if anybody wants to talk about the tutorial itself and any skips that we have in this stage, go ahead. I'm going to start focusing up for a bit.
Wait, there are skips in this stage?
There's
The run is underway. Yeah, this is the intro. So this is the first level of the game. This kind of teaches you all the controls, and it does limit you in terms of what you can do. So right now, Witherman is doing a very hard strat. It's called holding forwards. We get down off the rail, and he's now going to be boosting. So this teaches you about the boost and the fact that you can collect these little lightning bolts here that fill your boost meter. Boosting is going to be a really important strat throughout this run to kind of keep the speed up. We now can no longer boost. All we can do is jump. You press the A button, you hold it for a bit longer, you can jump higher. So the game kind of teaches you how to play it. Unfortunately, we have to do this every single time. One of the other things we have here is the homing attack, where we can home in on certain objects, and we also have the air dash as well to jump over things. So these are going to be our main instruments that we use, our main movement that we go through the game. And as you can see, we can also hop on rails. So now that we've gone through all the basics, now the game gives us back control to a degree, and we can continue on through the intro.
Yeah, I think Witherman's going to try to do a small optimization. So this is like a 2 to 2.5 minute intro stage. As Hud said, that like we have to do every single time that you're going to do this. When you hold the controls here, your controls go backwards sometimes.
Cool.
Funny enough. I've experienced that a bunch, like left is right and whatnot. But up here, you can run off the ledge to the left instead of actually taking the little ramp, and it just speeds it up. You know, any second you can save in the tutorial stages, second you can get.
You're going to see a lot of this throughout the run, where the intended path of following rails, following the little hoops that we go through that give you speed boosts, or even these air dashes, we're going to be doing a lot of skips through here where we are intentionally avoiding taking the intended route and just trying to save little, like, I suppose, microseconds here and there. So, for example, here, not taking the left rail, but jumping across to the third rail directly, and then here using the homing attack to boost Sonic forward. Also, warning, loud noise incoming.
Yes, very loud noises.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot to bring that up. That's the only one of those that's loud in the game. Sorry.
Sorry, headphone users. We tried.
Sega.
This is our first stage with Amy. So the Dream Team, there are a whole load of characters from across the franchise. A little bit of an interesting selection when it comes to some of them, but there are a lot of favorites that we don't see all too often, especially in games nowadays. So it's very exciting. Amy is our second speed character. The other characters that we're going to be seeing are going to be representing different things that we've seen, through the franchise, kind of common factors. But Wither is going through this is a collection stage. So, at the moment, the part of this stage, they're going to be collecting some keys to open a door and also getting red star rings along the way. Very important. We will test this on you later.
The key to get the red star rings in each of these like level act ones, I guess what we call them there, you get an extra dream orb. So the whole process of this game is we're trying to get 70 dream orbs as fast as possible with as technically as few stages as possible. So in the act one, you can essentially collect 2 each and every time. And he's gonna go for a little skip here and grab the rings instead. You can skip through all that by jumping through like the waterfall there. But we're gonna try to get the 5 star rings each time in every stage because it's still faster to get those. And even if you have to backtrack a little bit versus actually playing an extra stage. I believe the route's pretty close to being somewhat optimal from the standpoint of doing this stuff the fastest as we can until we find more potential skips throughout the game.
Yeah, each area is going to start with that main level where we collect the red star ring, and then we're going to start doing some of the side missions. So in this one, this is a very simple, just collect the dream orb. So it's a subsection of the level. We're not doing the whole thing again, but trying to get to the perceived end here to get the extra dream orb. But you're going to see as we come into this area, it's slightly different from last time. In this case, we've got these little bounce pads that we're going to go along, and then here's the dream orb. So there's going to be a couple of these different missions. You're going to see all of them as we go through here as well. So you can see we've now unlocked a new act, which means we can go to Act 2, but we're actually going to go back to Act 1 here to continue on some of these missions. And the next one we got here is a checkpoint one where we need to go through specific rings that you can see in front of you. Each one we go through gives us 3 more seconds on our time, but it means we have to follow a desired path here to go through each one. This one, we've got 9 of them to go through before we finish up the level. So it's all about kind of taking various different routes through the level, and it does chop and change them a little bit.
Yeah,
that was
especially
strat. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, that one's pretty tight. Being able to get okay, well, doesn't matter there. Being able to, what I like to do is steal the rings. A lot of those checkpoints are connected to booster rings, which get you stuck in scripted sections. I like to try and get myself into a position where I can get the object I need, like get the ring, without being stuck in the scripted path.
Nice. Okay. And then now we've got, and this is like the collect the dream orbs. So we're gonna get 6 dream shards, which will give us the full dream orb technically. One thing that Witherman's done a great job of routing, as well as doing like the checkpoint resets, because as you saw him do there, was able to do a reset to get back to the section areas instead of traveling backwards and just kind of wasting all that time. Go back to right where you spawn and get the other 3 dream orbs pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's very nicely done.
And you're going to see a lot of Amy in this run if you haven't noticed already.
Best gal.
Yes, yes. So technically we could play a Sonic, as Hibby even alluded to. There's no speed character, and one thing we've discovered is that we do the timing. I guess that's the big thing we should have mentioned before. Timing of this game is IGT related. We don't really care about RTA. We use RTA for runs just to kind of see where we're at. But the final times on leaderboards and everything goes by IGT. Another big reason for that is not going to jinx it. I'm not going to jinx it. But this game will crash probably 10 times. But anyways, hopefully it doesn't. So that'd be very, very unfortunate if you're on a good RTA run and then it crashes. So we don't care about that. Crashes don't affect IGT as well, because as soon as the game gets force closed, your IGT doesn't advance. It doesn't save unless you complete the level, or if you're to actually exit yourself. So it's a positive from that standpoint. If we get a crash, doesn't actually affect the run in a negative way.
It also levels out the playing field, because I am of course yet to do a run of this, but I'm going to be rocking a MacBook Pro when I do eventually come up to it. And you folks, you're all on Apple TVs at this point?
I said,
no, you're on something different, Rose.
I'm on an iPad. Yeah, I'm on an iPad 10. I think it's a 10. Something like that.
Wait, you've actually been doing your runs on iPad?
Yes, I've been on iPad, yep.
How have I not clocked this? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So load times are definitely, they all vary too between all platforms. So it's definitely nice that we do IGTs for sure.
Yeah.
It is a fairly well optimized game. I'm running it on the 1st generation Apple TV 4K. The latest one is the 3rd generation 4K Apple TV.
I am on a 3rd generation.
So you're on 3rd generation, yeah?
Yeah, so I actually started, when I first started running the game, I was running on an Apple TV HD, the very first generation that supported apps. And I gotta say, you're gonna want an Apple TV 4K to play this game. If you try to play this on hardware that's barely supported, it is hilariously unprepared. It was the worst performance I've ever seen in any video game.
My heart broke for you when that was happening with it. I was just like, oh, how did the game go? It kind of went.
Hey, I finished out the run. I liked the game.
There we go.
I liked the game enough to troop through that.
Nice.
and to get the better gear for it as well.
And again, it doesn't matter. Apple 4K, it's going to crash just as much as an iPad. So I mean, what you got? We haven't tested an iPhone yet. I could bring on my iPhone one day and try it out. But we'll just see how that works.
Imagine the era when RTA optimal is to play a video game on an iPhone.
So a couple of things that's worth mentioning. Firstly, the amazing devs at Sega Hardlight that have made this have actually been turning up in our streams, and they are very aware of some of the bugs, and they're very aware of some of the crashes, and they are already working on it. They've been brilliant in terms of being very receptive to some of the things that we've been showing them, and some of the interesting things we found in this game. It's a really well-polished game, I'd say, but it's still got a few quirks that need to be ironed out, let's say.
It plays fantastic, controls extremely well. Like, it's one of those games you don't kind of expect it to, because it's, Apple-only product, but it's a phenomenal game, in my opinion.
It flows so well.
It does.
I was keeping up with this game before it released, and one of the big things the devs were saying they wanted to really get right was the flow of the game. And I gotta say, immediately upon playing it, that is the if anything, that's what truly got nailed. This game feels like water when you're playing it, and really, really going to town.
Oh, it really does.
but it doesn't play itself too much, which
No.
like is always a risk if you want something to flow nicely, like you just kind of make it play itself. Like this is like you are in control.
It's one of those things where it's kind of on rails to a degree, but you can opt to not do that, and it's faster not to.
Yep. Yeah, because the only levels that are realistically on rails would be with the checkpoints, you would say, because you have to progress.
Have to take the desired route.
Yeah, other than that, we do a lot of different little mini optimization shortcuts. Like even right here where there jumps before the spring and goes underneath it. So yeah, we're still in the same section, but that's a tiny small optimization that saves time over the run.
And that's utilizing one of this game's like coolest accessibility features. The way that the air dash and the homing attack work, it's very clearly meant to cater to somebody that's on an iPhone, somebody playing on a touchscreen. But if you are playing on a controller, it just gives you such a level of like power and control that I've never really felt in a 3D platformer before.
Yeah. For me, like the biggest thing was actually changing those accessibility settings to say, actually, I want my homing attack and my air dash to be on separate buttons. So when it wants to homing attack, you can opt not to do it, and it's actually faster, a lot faster. So there is certainly a level of skill in terms of not doing what the game necessarily wants you to do, and actually opting to do it differently. Here's a really good example, not going through the loop, but skipping through that. Again, it's a small optimization that probably only saves a couple of seconds, but over the course of the run, all these little optimizations, they add up to many minutes, like upwards of 5 to 10 minutes of optimizations, I'd say.
It's especially true because of just how many stages there are.
Yeah.
Like, it cannot be stressed enough that we cut out a bunch of stages, but we still end up playing almost 70 by the end of the run.
I still remember realizing for the first time, because when I first started learning speedrun this, I just did the stages in the order they came till I got to 73 mobs.
Me too.
And then I found out what the route was that I think King Rhodes, you originally came up with.
Yeah.
And I think I lost my mind.
It was a funny clip, and it was a lot of just because how the levels get accessed, because you need certain characters that we're going to see here coming up shortly to kind of access different levels, and you want to make sure you unlock certain parts. But yeah, going from World 2 back to World 1 to then when you get to World 3, you go back to World 1 again to the World 2, back to World 1. It's just kind of a variety that you've got, but it kind of all works. And as Wither said, it does flow even, believe it or not, when you get through all this here.
So now we're going to be going into our first boss, and you can see that we're choosing our hero. We're just picking Sonic by default. He's first. This is Dr. Crabulous. He is a big inflatable crab. So lovely. So there's 4 stages here. He's going to slam his big inflatable claws on the floor. We're going to pop into one of them and deflate it. Or Dr. Crab.
This boss made me feel sad when I first played it. I was just like, no, he's so cute. Look at him.
So squishy.
I would buy a Dr. Crab plush or like a balloon. I would buy it instantly.
Yeah, a little animal, balloon animal. Yeah,
they're so going to make a pool inflatable of Dr. Crab, right?
Yeah,
they have to.
So marketable.
So this one's stage 3 here. We're going to intentionally take damage on the first ring so that we don't get hit by the third one. If you get hit by the third one, he'll immediately get up and start bouncing away. And then here on the fourth one, he's going to be super small, and we're going to bop him away to the sunset.
Wave bye to Dr. Crabulous.
Goodbye, Dr. Crab.
Rude as hell.
So defeating the boss, we've now opened up World 2.
Oh boy. All right, here comes...
And we got new heroes.
I'll take a second to talk about this. We're coming up on one of the most prevalent and difficult tricks in the game called a piston jump. These are extremely tight, and this is the most important one in the entire game. It's the first one.
Right out of Sonic CD here.
Maybe. I'm too low. I'm too low.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good.
That'll work. Yep.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Well done.
Those are excruciatingly difficult. Way more than you'd think. Timing those to get the height you need is kind of ridiculous. They seem like they wouldn't be that tough, but getting enough height to be able to get up here and skip those keys is not easy.
Yeah, that skips 3 keys, so that's a lot less collectibles that you have to get. Just that little section right there.
So yeah, in this world, we're going to see another key skip as well later on. Have we spoken about the different characters and the movesets yet?
No, I just got my flight characters,
yeah.
so you can go ahead and explain those now.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it. So there's 6 characters in the game. You've got Sonic and Amy, you've got Cream and Tails, and you've got Rouge and Knuckles. And each of those 3 sets focus on different things. So Sonic and Amy's all about speed. You've got Tails and Cream here, that's all about flight. And then you've got Knuckles and Rouge, that's all about gliding. And different levels are made for different characters. So now we're in World 2. These levels, it does restrict us in terms of the characters we can use because they are designed for certain ones. For the most part, most of the missions and the levels that we do, we will just pick the default character with a few exceptions where actually different characters are faster.
But now that we've done that, we've now officially unlocked Tails and Cream. So now we can go back and kind of clean up World 1 a little bit. So we're able to get more Dream Orbs to make sure we can keep progressing through the game here.
So yeah, we're doing the Act 3 missions here at the moment. You'll see that we're using Amy again, being the default character out of Amy and Sonic that the game picks for us. The reason why we didn't do this before doing Dr. Crab, it's just quicker to do the boss when it makes the boss available. So you'll always see us do that throughout the run.
I tried to, on that rail earlier, tried to do another little skip, get around the automated section, but I didn't quite.
I was going to ask if you did that there. Yeah. I can't. Who found that? Was that Ray?
I don't know. I just started doing it.
Well, there was a. I'm talking about the rail deviation. There's a small tech.
I think it was Ray that found rail deviation. Yeah.
So you're able to essentially have to press your jump button and homing button at like the same time, and you get like a few frame input in between, and you can actually jump off the rails. Because unlike Sonic Adventure or other games that had rails, you actually can't fully jump off the side. And if I misspoke, someone correct me there because I don't play those games as much. But you can't actually jump off and quote unquote like kill yourself. You have to actually stay on the rails. But the combination of buttons, you can actually completely jump off the rails and skip some sections as well.
The rails themselves remind me mostly of Shadow, like Shadow the Hedgehog 2005's rails. And I think the rails in that game are phenomenal. I don't think the rails in this game are quite as good because Shadow rails have the really unique ability of, all right, hold on, allowing you to like maintain your momentum from a spin dash into them. But these are a very close second.
But yeah, a lot of this is, I mean, I can't compliment this enough when it comes to a lot of the mechanics. They do feel this, they feel flushed out, they feel very good. You know, as a player, when you're trying to be even precise, it took me a little bit to get used to like the characters moving on the ground, and once you play kind of through the game one time, you get a really good grasp of the control, and it just feels so good. Even flight, getting certain jumps off of rails, kind of like what they did there, got the high jump to kind of skip a platform, it feels good, and it's not too hard to kind of replicate.
Yeah, I think it feels very natural, and it makes it very easy to pick up. It's one of those ones, it's very easy to learn, but it's very hard to really master the movement.
And optimize it.
You're going to see a lot of this here in terms of boosting into flight, because you maintain quite a lot of that speed when you start flying. And then here, using the homing attack to clear large distances as well. It's just quicker. So again, we're going to do a little bit of a skip here, straight up top. Get the extra flight boost there just to reset the meter for us. But yeah, it's combining a lot of these mechanics. In here, just a little bit of a skip, just head straight left onto the platform. This one, you can just about make it across. Yeah, nice. And again, using that boost flight.
I'm having a lot of issues right now with the game eating my inputs, as you saw earlier too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is
Wouldn't be
definitely
a Sonic game. Yeah, the homing attack is just absolutely monstrous in this game. Like, just so powerful. Like out of most of the moves, because all characters have it, which is something that's quite wild when it comes to this sort of thing. So it's so powerful and so handy, and makes
it really is.
It's got so much more reach than you think it does, and if you are directly looking at something that you're trying to homing attack, it will go further as well, much further.
It is crazy how far the homing attack goes. It's also crazy how much this game wants me to die. I promise you, I'm pressing the A button. I'm giving it my best shot, and the game's like, nah, you gotta press a little harder than that.
As you're not pressing all the way down, that's all it is, you know? The controller, that's what it is.
Always blame the controller.
We got another shard level here. Kind of just going around. Whether took the back route there instead of having to do the piston jump again. So go through that, and you're able to fly across and get the last remaining orbs here, and we progress on to another one. If you blink, you missed it. Some of these do go extremely, extremely fast.
So these are the kind of levels that I really enjoy because when you get them right, they feel so good. So going to be coming up using Amy here, so it's all about speed and the boost, but lots of platforming to do and lots of little jumps to do. So again, another little air dash. The ring's bringing us all the way up. And now it's all about timing this along with our boost, our air dashes as well to get across, skipping the first enemy there. And now it's really tough. Oh, I didn't know you could skip that first platform. I need to remember that.
Clean. That was really
nice.
Nice.
That was really good.
Yep, and you saw whether there just ran to the left of the spring, so he didn't have to actually take the spring across, which saves some more time because you get to keep your momentum.
Oh, this is a Tails level. Whoops. Oh wait, no, never mind. I like playing this stage with.
You played Amy. I don't like doing the jump from here.
So this is another actually intended mechanic of being able to skip picking up the 3 keys here. Are you planning to skip the keys, by the way?
Yeah.
Because I normally do this as Tails as well.
Red ring just needed it, okay. But I hit this rail with Amy.
I genuinely didn't know you could hit the rail with Amy on this one.
You gotta line up from the back part.
Oh, clean.
Nice.
Very nicely done.
Yeah, we have not been joking when we talk about the range of the homing attack. Without it being as powerful as it is, that would not be something that Wither could do.
Yep.
Picking up a red star ring, very nicely there. I just saw somebody in chat raise the point of whether Apple Arcade would become like Google Stadia. Please do not put that omen on that platform.
I don't know. I'm kind of a bad omen. I was a harbinger of Stadia as well.
You were as well.
Oh wow.
It's Witherman's fault. Now, given how much Apple are trying to get into gaming at the moment, I can't see Apple Arcade going away.
No.
And I'd say watch this space, like, given the success of this. Once the exclusivity period is over, there's probably half a chance we'll see this on other platforms. Please, 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 Sega. Because it deserves to be seen on other platforms.
It is such a good game. Even if it stays mobile only.
Very nice level.
It's still kind of... Thank you. But it still would kind of blow if it stayed mobile only. But still, just having it be something that more people could play would be awesome.
Yeah.
So now as we keep progressing in kind of like World 2 here, you'll see more and more flight stages as well. And they increase in difficulty from the standpoint of you're actually going to have like almost no ground, as you're going to see here. You actually have to really fly through the checkpoints and whatnot through here. They do progressively get more challenging as the run does go on, but they honestly get just as fast too. There's a lot of short stages throughout the run.
In my personal opinion as well, I think that Dream Factory is the hardest zone in the game. Right now, we're in the thick of it. This to me is the hardest section. Ego City ain't that bad at all.
No, I don't think Ego is not for sure.
Yeah,
I've got 1 or 2 nightmare stages where I'm kind of like,
yeah,
not a huge fan of. But yeah, I think overall, Dream can definitely be up there for one of the harder ones.
Yeah. And it's fair to say, like, obviously here with Dream Factory, we unlock the flying characters, so many of the missions are flying based. You're going to see when we get to the third world, because we will unlock our gliding characters, a lot of the missions are gliding character based. So they do kind of, stick together. And then, our final world in Ego City, we actually don't do many of it, because by then we'll have picked up most of the Dream Orbs that we need to get to the final boss.
However, that was the area that the new 3 stages were routed in, though.
Yeah.
It's 3 of those, yeah.
So this is still evolving. Do you want to talk quickly about that one, King Road?
Sure. So I went through this game and essentially IL'd every level that you can have access to, up to when you need 70 orbs, and essentially compared them to either Wither's different record runs or some other people in the community's ILs, and essentially just picked the fastest, roughly 60 stages, and said this is the stages that we're going to do. And we kind of routed them in. We had recently done a route. I think Wither's current world record is not this route that he's going to be doing today. They're adding 3 extra stages, yeah. So there's 3 stages that we added in, and 2 of them save about 40 seconds combined between just the 2 stages alone. So there's still kind of ever-evolving, pieces that come into play with this, especially if new strats get found or new kind of like mini skips that we can find. Definitely will change some levels as well.
Now, fellas, this is all grand, all speedrunning stuff, but we speedrun these games. Ooh, that's interesting. We speedrun these games for the stories, right? Like, what did we be missing out on? We actually get to skip the cutscenes, unlike the other Dream-related game that Wither plays.
That Wither plays, that's correct. That is
my least favorite part.
Out on? Who's this funny goat character that we've been seeing in the the noisy sections? Who wants to take the lead on that one?
I'll let Huds take that because I probably didn't really watch too much of the story.
Actually, maybe not on the boss.
Don't say that. I can't remember the story. I played through it once and I started speedrunning it. And the thing is, I watched all the cutscenes and I still don't remember.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second.
Actually,
I think we should talk quickly about Factory Foreman because this boss is really interesting. There is a skip here. So, the whole point here is that we can skip one of the stages here. So you're going to see Witherman lining this up.
Okay, he can still do it though, technically.
Yeah,
maybe.
So we can still do it. So what we're trying to do is to hit one of the smaller bots here, the blue or the yellow one, is it? Yeah, the yellow one, before the green one settles. Because then the green one stays there. Perfect. That skips a phase. That's about a 15-second time save. Perfect.
And now this is just Eggman dancing, or the 4-man dancing.
Yeah. So, in regards to the story, God, I don't know if I can remember the story. Basically, the goat character that we're seeing is a character called Ariam. That much I remember. And I remember that the cutscenes have these amazing styles. They're all voice acted, but they're kind of like comic book style. And that's about all I can remember of the story.
I think the story is essentially Eggman has captured Cream in a dream, I think.
No, it's the story's actually kind of messed up. Eggman has Cream in a permanent sleep. He's invading her brain so that he could try and trick the dream people, because there's people inside of dreams, into letting his become real, because only the dreams of good people become real.
Yeah. And he's trying to get the wish to create Eggman land or take over the world type essence, Eggman style.
Yeah, and Ariam is a guardian of dreams, supposedly.
Yeah,
and she's like, all right, guys, you're in these dreams now. You gotta help out, and that's just what we're doing for an hour or so.
Yeah.
So Tails here in this boss fight in the story is supposed to be shutting down the Guardian Hunter, which is that dude in the background I've got the camera focused on. He's really big, mean, and scary. And as you notice, Tails isn't fighting him. So the Guardian Hunter, spoilers, gets away. He'll be coming back later. Don't you worry.
Oh my God, I've only just realised that's the Guardian Hunter in the background. Spotted that.
I think I recognized it, but I didn't ever put one and one together, to be honest.
I'm so unobservant.
The price of going fast, that's all it is.
I watched the cutscene earlier while I was playing 4-man and trying to practice the skip. And Tails is like, oh, that's the Guardian Hunter. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it is.
You're like, oh, we only get to fight you here in a little bit. Okay, cool. Spoilers. No spoilers.
Nice. Good job. It was cool to show. I'm glad that you managed to get one of the cycles skipped.
Yeah, I'm glad I did too. I got 15 seconds save. Woohoo!
From G-Knuckles High.
Him.
Let's go. What a guy, what a bloke.
I love this animation, how he grinds on the rail. It's so funny.
Oh, he's so sick. He's so sick. Well, we are in a new space. This is the Dream Maze?
Nightmare Maze.
Nightmare Maze. And we've got Knuckles. He's got the moveset that you would expect. He can glide, he can climb. Gonna try and avoid gliding and climbing where we can. It's nowhere near as fun or quite as mobile as, one has come to get used to when it comes to the adventure games, but he can go fast, which is nice. He's still got that homing attack, but gliding, he glides like a rock, which is not very well, as one might expect. So, going through kind of like a speed character for the most part, but, doing the classics. Yeah, nice. That's cool.
Yeah, the glide's got some uses to it. Don't knock the glide. I think the glide.
I'm not knocking it. It's just
You know,
a little lackluster when it comes to the history of the glides when it comes to Sonic.
it doesn't got the oomph you might expect from it, but for these levels, it is plenty powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loses height quite quick compared to what many people are probably used to. But yeah, for the way these levels are designed, it's not necessary for him to have anything more than what he's got, really. Lovely little skip there, just nice easy jump, but it's not always obvious that one's there, and that skips about 5 seconds of running round.
Yes, that was a very clean Act 1 there.
Thank you.
So that unlocks Rouge and Knuckles now for like the rest of the game. So now we can go all the way back to World 1 and essentially clean up and finish World 1.
And if you're thinking to yourself, man, they've been spending a lot of time on World 1, why? You gotta remember, we have to get 70 Dream Orbs to be able to finish the game.
And again, I think there's doing some quick math, like I like numbers. We got 3 boss fight ones and a tutorial. There's 4, and then we got to do 3, 6, 9, 18, 22. So there's like 58 levels. There you go. That's roughly extra that we have to do. Give or take.
Quick math.
Give or take. I'm probably off by a little bit, but give or take.
Oh no.
Oh
yeah.
That's so close.
So close.
Yeah, talk about that glide not being up to snuff.
not being long enough. Heavy was trying to downplay it, and you were like, "No, it's fine, it works." And then
Knuckles just had to remind me.
It's fun until it isn't.
Knuckles comes and gets you.
Well, folks, we've been talking about orbs. If you've stuck around watching, Hotfix all throughout the night, then you would have watched Do All the Things. I probably butchered that. Sorry, Shasta. We have an All the Things category for this. So there's like 70 orbs that we collect in a main any percent run. There is also 101 orbs. So if you like, doing everything, then literally there is something for you in this. We have ILs as well. So literally, if you've got an iPhone, you have no excuse. You have to start running this game
Instantly. You must run it now.
But
Yes.
there you go.
If you're watching, you have to run it. That's just kind of how Speedrun works.
If you live in North
Somebody
America,
asks you why, just tell us Knuckles sent you. I don't know.
if you live in North America, there is an 87% market share for Apple on the iPhone. So I know you're most likely watching this on an iPhone, which means that you can run the game. Don't think I don't see you.
Nicely done.
So he is, there is skipping some stages, like we said. So we've taken all the stages
I
out
went to
that
the
are
wrong
obviously
stage.
a little bit longer. Okay.
My
See
bad.
Knuckles again. It's alright.
Sorry, Knuckles.
Goodbye, Knuckles.
That's okay. He's back.
Very nice.
Let's go. Oh.
So yeah, this is a good example where the default character choice for this would have been Amy, but we are intentionally picking Knuckles, and you're going to see why in a second. Because in terms of the route that we are trying to take, having the glide available to us at certain times, well, for a start, it allows us to get up to these areas which we need to. So able to grab onto these red walls with Knuckles, climb up to the top, glide over to this other area, which lets us get this one right up here. Now, one of the cool things with this is you can switch characters while in a level. You can see on the right-hand side there, the little switch icon that's kind of transparent at the moment. You can do that, but it does take a fair bit of time to do. So for the most part, we try and avoid it where possible. I think there's only one level where we actually intentionally do it, unless we've now routed that one out.
No, there's an shard stage that we definitely switch like a few times because it's Knuckles and the Tails. I don't know any other stage actually. It's
It'll be coming up soon.
Nightmare Maze. I also switched for Nightmare Maze Act 1, or Nightmare Maze 3 Act 1.
Yes, because you got to go around. Yeah. I believe there's that one too as well.
Nice on the timing for that piston.
Yes, that was phenomenal.
What you're saying about it just being like water, like and everything's lining up and everything's going smoothly. This game is an absolute treat, not just to watch, but like playing looks as good as it is. I think
It feels so good to play.
Yeah.
We got there eventually.
What's re-
Thank you. Words are hard for me right now.
Words are hard.
Another little bit of insider info from the Hardlight team that I was given was that some of the devs, and especially the level designers, with the levels they were creating, they did learn to speedrun them so that they could get the timing of things like the pistons just right for it. So in terms of their ability to speedrun it, they then started timing things like these pistons so that when they got here, it was in the right place where they needed it. So there has been a lot of thought put into how the levels flow, and most importantly, if you are speedrunning it, where things should be so that it doesn't feel like you're being held up all the time.
Where are the staff ghosts? This is what we want to know.
Yes.
Come on, release the update.
Oh no.
The hard light, that's what we want. Ooh,
I'm unfortunately owned.
that is unfortunate.
Tried to take that a little bit too tight.
I think this is one of the most frustrating shard levels just because of the sheer amount of flight you have to do to get to this one.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is...
Feels so slow. There we go. Yeah, down here for this one, then the other one's right at the opposite end. So quick checkpoint skip just to get us back to the beginning.
Yeah,
Over
this
the
is
lava.
my least favorite level in the game so far. I do not like that one, but that's okay. Overall, Dream Factory. Oh man, Dream Factory does not agree with me.
I'd definitely say this is one of the toughest toughest worlds of the whole game.
Yeah,
I certainly find it the most frustrating.
And we definitely do a lot in here as well, because we'll come back, I think, even more because we get more stages unlocked, like the 6 and 7s, I think. After we beat the other, I might be a little wrong with that. No, yeah, we do come back because you got to complete a couple of the shard levels that are like level 6 and 7, I think.
Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to load my splits in a second to check the route.
Yeah.
So this is the other thing that is probably really important to say is because of how many missions we have to do and the fact that for quite a few of them we need to change character and the order that we do them in, we're very grateful to have good splits that outline exactly where we should be going.
No sub splits. No sub splits.
It is immensely helpful though having the route because it's so much to remember.
Yeah. It keeps changing. King
It
Roads
does
keeps
keep
changing
changing.
it.
Yes, I know. I'll make sure I'll just like change the level order that it won't actually even matter or anything. I'm like, all right, we're gonna do this level instead of this level next. Just like, all right, why? I don't know. I just feel like it. Keeping you guys on your toes.
Changing it.
See, we're gonna pay attention.
It does worry me when we get to the point of having to, for RTA purposes, start optimizing the menuing. So
Yeah.
we do change the order just for the menu optimization. Now this shard level I love because the route on here is really clever. This, when I first tried to learn this one, was such a nightmare. And then I saw the route that yourself, King Rhodes, and Witherman were doing, and it's like, oh, it's actually really good.
I always forget with this one. Like I definitely messed this one up a little bit, but that's okay.
You want to go there first, I think. That's why I usually go there first to get that one. But yeah, it's these shard levels can be done very, very quickly once you get a
once you know the route. And it's the restart from checkpoint that really changed it because it splits it into two sections at that point. And when you understand that actually I can go do this bit first, bring myself back to the middle, and then go again, it opens up so many possibilities. Also potentially controversial, but I want to say that this world has the best music.
I don't know if I really have an opinion on music in this game. It's kind of like it's not. The final boss music is a banger.
It's the best song in the game. Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna fight you on that.
Other than that, I'm kind of like, I said indifferent, but I think they're all.
I'm kind of with you on that, Rhodes.
I'm just
it's like, not personally. It's not quite as.
It's not Sonic
inspiring.
music.
Yeah,
I mean, I will say that. Like,
it's not super memorable, but it's very complimentary.
Yeah.
But it's not by any means bad.
Nah.
I mean, going from Frontiers to the music.
We were spoiled.
I mean, yeah, it's still better than Superstars. Sorry, I don't know, but
I'm a huge fan of the Frontiers OST. Like,
oh yes,
one of my favorite songs in the entire franchise, and I get flack for this pretty frequently. But if you know me at all, you know my favorite song in the franchise is 3-7 All Reality. That song is so underrated.
cyberspace. I mean, is there a bad song on the Frontiers OST? I don't think so.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah. What's the one with like the child singing?
Oh, what, at the end?
Yeah.
I quite like that one.
If
It's very
you
poignant.
All right.
if you ask world famous SA2 runner Ethmar, he would say Deja Vu. He hates that song.
Yeah.
Like, I saw someone earlier say that Find Your Flame is a bad song. I just want them to know that they are entitled to their opinion, even if it's wrong.
They may want to lock their windows though.
How's it coming? How's it coming?
Oh dear. So yeah, working through Nightmare Maze here, we are now on one of the checkpoint missions. You'll see that they are getting progressively harder, and that's another really nice thing. I think that Sega Hardlight have really balanced the skill ceiling on this in terms of how it ramps up. So starting to pick up more of what you've been learning, following the direction that the game kind of wants you to take, and it's just slowly building up your knowledge of the game and your understanding of the techniques really, really well. It's also one of the really nice things I like about this game, that the missions kind of force you to see all of the level, and it takes you around all the different areas. You can't just learn one route through it. You have to understand how every single act is made up.
That's a very good point, because there's parts of levels that we'll never technically play if you were just to do Act 1, because we skipped some stuff, but this takes you throughout various parts. Like, oh, that's what's over here. Oh, that's what's over here.
It's a really nice skip with him in.
Yeah.
That was scary. Knuckles fell off the wall. I had to fight him back on.
Knuckles climbing will be sketchy sometimes. You'll just not grab walls, even though you're on it.
He also has a little animation where like he starts to fall off depending on how far you are when you're trying to cling onto it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a speed thing, kind of a like how you land on it. So yeah, that can sometimes sort of trip you up and you're like, oh, okay, got to account for that.
And get launched.
Nice.
Very nice.
Really good.
August.
They're at 44, so we still need 26 more. We're still a little ways away, about a third of the way, 2/3 of the way. I can't do math. Sorry.
Which of the 6 in this dream team do you think is most likely to use the word poggers?
Oh, Sonic.
Sorry, I just...
Definitely Sonic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
That was
think
a
he'd use it,
nice
like,
little skip
ironically
there.
though?
Yeah, I hadn't seen that before.
No, I've not seen that before either.
Nice.
What? Y'all don't watch my runs.
He's found us out.
Now, I don't do this because I always mess this up.
Nice.
Very nice.
That was really good.
Because if you die there or you get stuck, you go
It's
back
so
to the
over,
beginning of the
yeah.
section. Yeah, so it's... I take the
Guys,
safe
all I'm
route
going to
there.
say, maybe there's a reason why, you know, you're not the world record holder. Maybe you ought to start watching with
Maybe,
runs. Like,
maybe.
just get it together.
That is true.
I know I'm saying this as somebody who isn't running the game, but, like, pull your finger out, honestly.
Excuse me. Hold on. Yeah, never mind. I'm so good. No, turn around, baby.
Did you get it?
Oh, no.
No, yeah. Too fast.
Look what
So
you've
there's-
done now, Hippie.
First try.
So
First try.
there's a lot of rails in this game which are one-way rails, which you cannot ride backwards.
Yeah.
Thank goodness that's not one of
That
them.
wasn't
I
one
found
there.
out
Yeah,
just now.
Yep, I was gonna say, yep, I had no idea that it wasn't, so that works.
I think one of the things though, like this game's been out for just over 2 weeks, and not only has the route really evolved, but our understanding of some of the available skips have drastically changed. Like, you know, myself and King Rhodes are finding out new things just like this is new.
Oh, you didn't know about this?
Let's...
No, I did not know
Mickey's
about
good.
that.
So-
Yeah.
Clean.
What?
Yep.
This was one of the first gate
First
skips
ones that he found.
ever found,
Yep.
and that is called No Good Corner, named after NGC, my good friend who found it while playing casually.
Nice.
Amazing.
Legend.
Yeah, that setup's and that was a harder setup for sure because I just used the OG where you kind of stand on the ledge and then go versus using the ramp. That was pretty.
Hello,
Pretty
Guardian Hunter. This is the bloke that we saw in the background of the four-man fight.
Yep.
So Knuckles is now having his hand at dealing with this guy.
Yeah, there's 4 phases here. We're going to be boosting along. Now this phase 2 here can be a little bit tricky, so we're going to get a boost here. and you've kind of got to leave this to the last second to get the actual homing attack. If you try and go early, you won't get the homing attack, and the Guardian Hunter will get back up. You're going to be doing another phase there. Phase 3 is fairly straightforward. It's definitely a little bit more narrow. We've got a little bit of a changed perspective here, going round the circle, so to speak, but fairly straightforward here again. And then catching up, doing the homing attack. And then finally, the fourth part here, we're going to be climbing up to a spring that's going to take us to the other side. Climb up to the top. We're going to wait for Guardian Hunter to get up. And then this is actually much easier than it probably looks. We're just going to keep spamming the homing attack.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks
Really
so
good.
it looks so threatening. Guardian Hunter's like, he gets all big, it looks like a big final phase, and then you just smack
Invisible
him.
Knuckles.
Invisible Knuckles, yeah.
Yeah, and Arian's really going through it in the background right now too. She's going to die.
Yes. And I feel like that's a common theme with anyone that Tails becomes friends with too, outside the main cast. To be honest.
Wow.
To be honest,
deep.
besides the main cast, I mean, there might be a few characters that, you know, are no longer with us. I'm just, you know.
Tails is the true enemy.
Yes. Yes.
The
I feel like
8-year-old
you know this by
orange
now, though,
hindrance.
But we are in Eagle City now, so this is the final world of the game.
That's a
reflection
great
of
example.
what Eggman wants from his dreams, supposedly. Oh,
The
Backwards.
power of that homing attack.
Yep.
we'd have some switches. Got to do some switching to make the path usable. Woodman's doing the first switch there, going up to the next one.
Now I'm going to be going for a extremely tight jump, one of the hardest in the entire game, because you can get sucked into this tube. But if I hit it, that'd be cool.
We believe.
I didn't.
Oh.
It's fine.
Believers have left.
It doesn't actually lose that much time to miss it. You save a
see
couple
it over here.
seconds. All right, come on. Yeah, you just kind of get owned by that. It's just a little insult to injury.
Also, for the eagle-eyed folks who may have, just been watching the game, haven't played it before, things are a little bit different when it comes to boost. I don't know if this is something that we've mentioned. We have our rings, but then we also have these little blue bolts, which is how our boost works. If somebody had said that, I apologize. But that's a little reminder, because rings are just fairly,
Everywhere.
as you can see, they're fairly plentiful. We've on 152 through most of the level, which might not be too surprising for a 3D Sonic game, but still, we don't have a life system in this game. We've just got rings, which
They're kind of arbitrary in this game, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we want to keep on top of how much we have in our boost. The little gauge that you can see every time that Wither is boosting, just next to the character, because boosting is fast, lo and behold.
Also, the boost in this game is actually quite difficult to manage because you really
It is.
don't have a lot of it. And I have a bad habit of accidentally holding the boost button when I'm in the air. And it doesn't give you any benefit, but it sure takes it from you.
That is very true. I do the same thing.
Yep. Bad habits.
I'll just say same as well, so that I can feel included.
I mean, when Hibby starts running it, he'll definitely make that same mistake.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. I mean, I probably
We'll give it
did
to him.
in casual play, and because, I mean, even in casual play, I certainly felt like going back through levels because I was just like, ooh, this has got to be speedier. This can be quicker. It's a game that can really drag you in. If you haven't speedrun a game before, then there's quite a lot to undertake. 70 stages. But in terms of a feel for a game, if you have a decent control scheme, this game is a pretty good option.
It's one of the few games I think that very naturally encourages what would be casual players to want to try speedrunning it without realizing.
Yeah, because they have the built-in time stages. We've done a few of those, but we do skip a lot of them where they have the actual built-in timer. It'll say beat the stage in a minute and a half, and it'll tell you at the end what your actual time is. Now, usual Sonic games do have timers, obviously. This had a timer, so technically you have this, so not trying to beat a certain time, but there's a few stages built in where it's a legitimate time trial stage to get a Dream Orb.
Can I say this level has the worst camera placement of all of them?
Yes. It does go in some
terrible.
funky places. It gets into some funky places.
This is jank camera 101 right now.
It's very nice if you got low on hardware though, because the camera angles that it gives you specifically cause a lot of lag reduction. Actually makes it a lot more playable. So that's most likely why the camera defaults to where it's at, if I was to guess.
Like this bit here, the fact that the camera's on the side and you're trying to go straight is gets me every time. Also, I just want to call out, I love Ego City for one particular reason, which is the background announcements that you hear. The tannoy. So good.
It's good colors vibes. I don't know, a lot of the time, I know one take that I've seen people say is that sometimes the levels feel a little bit barren, like it's a lot of repetitive, like it's just the same textures over and over, but there is charm, there is character in this. Even, you know, we talked about cutscenes, just the stuff that's on the tannoy here. You can also collect statues in this game. I know that seems like something that's super silly, but as replayability, it's got charm. I don't know. There's a lot going for this game, even if it does look like it's kind of repetitive. It is repetitive, but a good repetitive.
It's also got a great story, even though I couldn't remember it.
True.
Generally, the cutscenes are so charming. Like the style they've gone with just works brilliantly. At least I think it does. It's one of the things I definitely remember, like from my one and only casual playthrough, just really enjoying was the cutscenes.
Yeah, and then bringing the actual voice actors back, better and current too. You know, it just adds that much extra charm to it.
Whoa, Knuckles, you okay, buddy?
There.
Nope.
Oh,
hey, I'm back up
there.
here. That's nice.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So Wither is going to do a little skip here, I believe, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So jumps up, so you get a skip kind of like going around, maybe. All right, cool. So it skips an extra platform, an extra climbing section if you can jump up from there.
Yeah, climbing up that and getting that jump is actually tougher than you think. You need momentum from Knuckles climbing upward to be able to get the lead. No, that was not fun.
Sorry. First try, let's go.
That checkpoint one right there can always be a little bit tricky too, because another camera angle. Like if you hold any direction that's not, I want to almost say forward, you just miss it. Or if you don't light speed or spin dash through it, jump dash, whatever. It's getting late. It's only like 3 a.m. here, right, fellas?
Yeah, you know,
Almost.
just a casual Saturday morning at 3 a.m.
Yeah, no pressure to Wither, but my aggro at work all hinges on how fast I can do this run.
There was one thing I wanted to say too, is that I'm sorry for a couple of the mistakes I've been making, but there are 70 stages in this game, and this game is long. It's hard to play perfect. Really.
And you've been on the grind for other games as well. Like, you are not just a one-trick pony when it comes to Sonic Speed gaming. You've been, I mean, if you want to talk about it, like you've been on some different shtick recently.
Excuse me, hold on. Yeah, I've been playing Sonic Forces Overclocked ever since that came out. I've been grinding that game since literally day one. Waited several years for it. It's finally out, so it is just as good as I hoped it was. So the speedrun community for that's been growing has been phenomenal. I have loved just seeing the support that game has gotten, and it's been a ton of fun. Of course, I'm going to be going back to Sonic Adventure relatively soon as well. I've got a lot of Sonic under my belt at this point.
I mean, when it's the best franchise, I mean, it's kind of, is what it is. Yeah. Nintendo what? What? All right.
Did you all hear that? Yeah, so what Wither was talking about there was a fan game. Like you said, it's been in the development for a while, and like it adds in a lot, changes the physics of the game. So Hotfix hosts, if you want to get a game on some fan game action, you know Wither's number at this point.
That's one of the things that I think, and you'll often hear us praise Sega for this. They are very, very receptive and very happy to let the fan game community really go to town. Obviously with the proviso that anything that the fan game community do is released for free. Like, you're not allowed to profit off it, obviously, but they are pretty open to just kind of letting the modding community kind of make what they want with the Sonic franchise. And quite a lot of some of the stuff they've been doing recently is often inspired by stuff the fan game community have themselves been doing. It's well known, like Sonic Mania was developed by a former ROM hacker.
Never had to back that up like that before. That was scary.
Yeah, that was a really tiny backup. Fine. All intended, right?
A couple mistakes on that stage, but I've definitely had worse.
Yeah.
World 3-1-6. That is this stage. This stage is fitting. That's a nightmare maze. Oh, we got it for our first crash.
Yeah, first crash. There we go. Hey.
Yeah.
I was just thinking in my head. I was like, man, this is gonna be the world's first completed run with no crash. I didn't say it out loud. I didn't speak it into existence, but I was close.
We blaming Rhodes for this one.
I mean, I was in that last level about to say, we haven't had a crash yet. I mean, I was. Were their commentators' mental curse, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Hit you.
This is one of my favorite. I've not seen that before. All right, cool. There's
your favorite?
There's one. This is my favorite. One of my favorite Emerald stages, actually, or Shard stages. But I had not seen the skip there.
Myself and King Rose furiously scribbling notes.
I'm just like, all right, okay.
Oh no, I'm on the bottom now.
Yeah. I don't know how to get back up top from there.
That's okay. I guess I'll die.
Yeah.
This is my least favorite stage.
Me too. I hate this one.
No,
So bad.
So much can go wrong so quickly, kind of like as just shown. But I feel like this is one of those when you do it well, you're like, all right, that was clean.
I genuinely don't know how I got on the bottom path. I'm gonna be honest. Like, the camera flipped, and then all of a sudden, the game was like, "Hey, here's 20 seconds. They're mine now."
Oh yeah, the whole gimmick of Nightmare Maze with it doesn't trip you up too much, but it is enough to make you stop and think. You're just like, oh, okay, where am I now? And where can I jump to? Especially for speedrunning. I feel, I know I can probably pay more attention to, what we are doing in terms of skipping with the gravity switching, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that, things keep on being found with it.
But speaking of that, though, this is my least favorite stage. I will say this, though, versus the other ones. I go from favorite to least, because when you're in this last section here with Cream, your inputs can just drop.
Yeah.
And
don't say that.
It's those green rings, for some reason, when you go through them, it's hit or miss as to whether or not you actually get flight after it.
Yeah, you have to really press the flight button as you're starting to drop.
Yeah,
and sometimes you just the input and it would just drop. Good save.
Yeah, let's go.
Nicely done.
The inputs in that section sting.
Yes,
they are horrid.
It's awful, but it's a crazy fast stage if it all goes planned. It's really fast if it just works.
Yeah,
but it just doesn't half the time. But after that, we kind of get to calm down a little bit. Yeah, we get to calm down a little bit.
Cool.
Saved it.
Nice.
What a pro.
So that was the homing attack hitting the wall. That's the first time I've seen that happen.
I was say I have not seen that before, so we can add that to that too. However, to our credit, with the run still being so new, we can probably say haven't seen that before, and you don't get shamed for it as much,
Yeah. This game has, I'll be honest, it's not been as broken open as some Sonic games have recently.
For sure.
We found maybe one or two things that was oh, that's a bit odd. Maybe it's useful, but how do we replicate it? For example, I think King Road, you had one where with Knuckles just went to space.
Yep, I had not an infinite flight glitch, but I jumped off a rail and Knuckles went just straight up and just kept floating up. And I was like, oh, that's cool, interesting, and never been able to do it again.
Right. Yeah. again, like credit to Sega Hardlight. Like for the most part, we haven't really found much in the way of glitches in this game yet.
Yeah.
This game is very stable. Outside of a couple of crashes and whatnot.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah.
I really want the game to crash right now.
I don't.
This game's really stable. Crashes. So
well, I was just saying, even if you were to find stuff, I guess in the levels themselves, you still need your 70 dream orbs, for the any % route. So it's one of those outside of one of those like just some type of weird menu glitch, which I've seen in like SpongeBob. I remember SpongeBob
Rehydrated.
Yeah. So outside of finding something like that just arbitrarily breaks the game, you still need your 70 orbs. So even if you find game breaking stuff, it's still kind of within reason. I feel like you still have to complete the stages.
Man, only in speedrunning can we have these kind of conversations. Just like, oh yeah, we could just break this game. Yeah, like SpongeBob. Yeah.
It's funny.
I've never plugged in a second controller. Maybe we'll do that. See what happens.
It's funny that you bring up Rehydrated. I actually tried doing the exact same menu glitch like day one for this game just to see if it would happen. And I was, I'm one of 50 people to have shared the world record on the launch day for that game.
Gotcha. Nice.
Amazing. I was going to say, one of the really nice things, because obviously as far as the speedrunning community for this goes at the moment, like this is mostly it. The few of us here, plus a couple of extra amazing runners as well. And obviously one of the things we talked about earlier with the game crashing is that if you are midway through a level and the game crashes, it doesn't affect the run because the IGT, because we time it by IGT, the in-game time, it only saves to your save file when you complete the level or if you manually exit the level. But what we did realize is because you can just force quit the app, that doesn't add to it. We haven't actually, as far as I'm aware, haven't officially put it in the rules, but we've all kind of agreed it's like we're not going to be force quitting the game in order to spare us a mistake. And it's one of the really nice things I think about like the speedrun community as a whole is there's just like a consensus of, okay, we know we can do this, but realistically it's kind of against the spirit of the run. So we're just agreeing not to do it.
Yeah.
That's also just generally why I find myself gravitating towards smaller communities. I really like just the vibe of a really tightly knit speedrun community. It's great.
Eggman trying to squeeze in his propaganda. I'm surprised that we're allowed to air this kind of thing on GDQ, but
I mean, I for one can't wait to move to Egosity one day.
I know.
No, we are not having this conversation. Get out.
The day...
That's all you do. That's all you do.
The day that Robotnik opens up Egosity, I'm moving in immediately.
Yeah, let's go. I would go to Egosity in a heartbeat.
You're all in on this.
I mean...
Hold it together.
But it'll be right next door to where was it? The Hydro? I can't.
Splashy fun town.
Yes,
I think now's a really good moment to actually highlight the other runners. Huds did mention that there are some other runners. This isn't all that the community has to offer. We mentioned the 101 orbs category. We've got a lovely runner from the other side of the world to, all of us. We've got Callie, Callie, who's pretty solid Frontiers runner, pretty solid like all of the modern releases, like really good at Superstars, really good at Dream Team,
and I believe she just got the record in Amy for Sonic 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Awesome.
I thought Nadia might have.
Is that an Origins?
I think they're trading it between. I think they might be trading it, Nadia and Callie. I don't know, maybe. Depends on the category. And then Ayala's, we've of course been mentioning Ray. Ray jumped on the game like as soon as it came out as well. Very good Frontiers runner, very good runner of this. And then we've got two other Ayalas. We've got X Sonic Dragon and Noam SK, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, it's small, but if you want to make that just a little bit bigger, you are more than welcome to join us. We have a little cozy channel in the Sonic Speedrunning Community Discord, and yeah, the vibes are nice. The vibes are nice.
For sure.
Also, breaking news, and you're not going to believe this, an update got pushed out not long ago, I think.
Really?
I think possibly an update might have just been pushed out for the game.
Well, I hope I don't crash.
I'm going to bring it up.
Imagine. But I think HUDs. I think this is a level that's got added to the run. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, this is new.
And then there's one of the shard levels got added. I think coming up here that got added.
Whoa.
And I remember it because you did it in one of your first runs, and you were like, "I don't know what I'm doing here. This is awful."
Yeah,
And it wasn't like part of the run when you were just doing like a generic speed run.
Wait, that could be
generic
literally
speedrun.
any
not a
sharp
generic
level.
run. It's just like
HUDs with the dollar store run. Jeez.
when it was first came out. When it first came out, I think this is it. The level we added here too.
My timed casual playthrough.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I've just pulled it up. On the Mac App Store at the very least, it doesn't. There's the latest update was 3 weeks ago. So
Is it still
unless
1.1.2?
Yeah, unless there's something in the pipeline, then this is something that we've got to keep our eyes on all the time.
Yeah.
We were, really, just before this run was starting, we were all just chilling at a VC, and we were like, oh yeah, we can skip this as well. Like, constantly things being found on the go. And
Yes. Yep.
yeah.
We did in the final boss. They'll just patch that out right here in the mid.
Right now.
The crash was probably the game updating.
You're so right.
Force quit, update, everything patched.
Mid-marathon run. Nightmare.
No, that was earlier, Hib.
Hey, that's fine. I love this stage. I think it took me a while because I wanted to get all the red star rings in this one. But yeah, I remember this stage being a lot of fun. Just all the slopes feel so nice in this game. The kind of height and just the distance that you can get flung from them are so good.
And I think this has some of the more skips-ish in the level too. Obviously, you have key skips in levels, but there's a lot of rail skips and different minute, not pathing you're supposed to take when you're on a certain path. Like even up here, he's going to go and it's going to jump through, which you're supposed to use it taking the bottom path, but we were on the top path, but we conversed into the other one. So a lot of different little mini kind of skips when it comes to that kind of stuff there.
Yeah, this game doesn't.
This stage is a really good combination of everything that has come up in the game thus far. Gimmicks galore. It's got everything.
And it makes a lot of sense too. There isn't a designated fastest path in this game, like there might be in a classic Sonic game. You're not looking for the top or bottom path. You're kind of combining both live. You just during a stage like this one, I took the top and bottom path simultaneously, using aspects of both of them to progress.
We're down to our last stage. Yep, last shard stage here.
Nice.
And then into the final boss.
I was practicing this stage a little bit earlier. This is one of those ones that is super new to the run and really was tripping me up when I was practicing it yesterday.
Such a fun one to do though. It's so speedy. Being expertly done here by Witherman.
Yeah, it's very nicely done. Nicely
Beautiful.
done.
Bro. Never in doubt. Now to the final boss. Wow. The time, where's it gone?
Been a pretty good pace so far. It's not the pace I was hoping for, I would say, but I've been pretty nervous this entire time, and I think it's been reflected at a few different stages. And honestly, I'm just so excited to have been able to show this game off. And
This is awesome.
yeah, let's all stick through it together through the end of the nightmare with Nightmare Eggman.
The Dream Team was the chap that joined along the way.
Yeah.
I really love the design of Nightmare Eggman. I think they've done a brilliant job. Genuinely really terrifying, and yet he doesn't really do much apart from just kind of stare longingly in the background like this.
Yeah.
The timing on that was crazy.
So yeah, as we go through this final stage here, we're going to be utilizing everything that we've learned throughout the game, like these pistons here. We're going to be using all the different characters, except Tails, as we work our way through the final nightmare to save REM.
little Sonic Hero style, kind of esque. Well, I guess it's almost every modern Sonic game, right? In a way,
It's
kind of
very
go through
adventure.
the last story. Yeah. Adventure 06. Stuff like that. Hopefully Wither's going to pull off a couple of skips. Again, like as Hib kind of alluded to, we found just about 2-ish skips in the voice call here just an hour and a half ago. Yeah.
In the green room waiting to start the run. They just find 2 skips. Like, oh yeah, we could probably
Hopefully
do
I can
that.
pull at least one of
Fingers
these
crossed we'll get
off.
to see it.
You can go for it one time, see what happens. There's no time limit. It'll be all right.
No pressure.
And you are right. Going right there is way faster.
Yes. Yeah. And then when you go left right here, it's boom.
Wow.
So here's the first kind of skip he's going to try to go for, see if we can get it. We're going to climb like halfway up, give or take. If we want to go up a little bit more than you're used to, and then
Ooh,
Oh, whoa.
Camera angle.
we love the camera angles.
I've
Okay.
never seen that animation before. He got owned.
So what you can kind of do is jump off the platform and you're able to, or jump off the arm and jump onto the platform, but the camera does like tripping out.
I'm just going to climb all the way up for now,
Yeah,
as
that
that's
works.
something that
Yeah.
I'm definitely not too comfortable with just yet. Worth a try, though.
Yeah, it's a really tricky one because you don't get. Obviously, we've seen that Knuckles' glide it drops quite considerably, quite fast. It can be quite hard as well with the camera angles. This game has some very interesting takes on what a camera angle should be.
Reminds me a lot of home. For those of you wondering what I mean, I'm thinking about Red Mountain in Sonic Adventure. There is basically what I consider a Resident Evil camera section where the camera flips in the middle of a jump and you have one frame to completely change your analog angle. And if you miss that frame, you just die instantly.
You're done. Yeah.
Nice.
We love the flying sections. Let's go.
Last time we'll just see Cream. And then we get to go to everyone's favorite section. Amy. Amy running around here.
Amy runs around this big, long, noodly appendage, and it's a little horrifying, as these hands don't exactly have great visual indicators, so sometimes you can just get owned. I like to get into this section with almost 200 rings. I try to go for at least 180. But, you know, trying the Knuckles segment, I did not get to maintain my rings, so we're in the
we only peer pressure.
we're in the woods now.
Oh, you got this.
Oh,
Also, petition to name this segment the Mr. Tickle segment because of the long windy arms.
okay, we're fine.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh man, that was scary.
There we go.
Yeah. Wow.
The only
This is
cutscene we
Tails'
can't
contribution.
skip. Yeah. So yeah, Wither's not watching this just to watch.
Yeah, I am stuck
We
in
want
this.
Tails to feel somewhat useful during this final boss fight.
Yep, that is unfortunately
Okay.
all
there
we're
we go.
gonna see of Tails for the final segment.
Yeah. And then coming up here, he's gonna try the other two that we kind of just found here.
So just a
The
heads
music
up.
also gets up as well because banger.
Oh, nice. Gets a first try.
That's the first one.
So heads up, time's going to be coming up in about 20 seconds. Hey,
Very
gets
nice.
the second one.
Nice.
So about 10 seconds from now, we're going to get to the top. He's then going to throw the Dream Orb. And as soon as we get to the cutscene, time.
GG.
GG.
Slam dunk.
Slam dunk.
You love to see it.
Awesome. Any shout outs from y'all?
Yeah, I want to shout out everybody here on the commentator booth with me, King Rhodes, Huds, Hib. Thank you all so much for showing up for this. I appreciate it a ton. This was great. Shout outs to all of my friends watching and my parents for supporting me in this hobby. And of course, shout outs to Callie, our 101 Orbs runner. if you've got an iPhone, shoutouts to you for downloading Apple Arcade right now and running the game. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me. How about y'all? What y'all got?
And I've got just shout out everyone in here, whether it's like GG's on the run. Said this little community's been, pretty tight knit. It's just been developed like 2.5, 3 weeks or so. But it's a fun time, so come join on in and learn the game.
Yeah, big shout out to the fellow dreamers that are here and to Callie as well, and to all the IL runners. Can I say huge thank you firstly to King Rose for figuring out this route so I didn't have to, and also to Witherman for really pushing this game. A 103 is an incredible time, by the way, IGT. And I have no doubt we'll be seeing sub-hour in this very soon. Thank you so much for inviting me along. I'm going to bed in a minute because it's 3:15 in the morning.
I was about to say, whether that's less than a minute away from your current IGT PB, isn't it?
It sure is. Yeah, that's
world record.
Yeah.
That is faster than Rhodes PB. Smiles.
Yep. It is. We're getting on the grind.
That's okay. That won't be true for much longer. I'm sure I'll be in second place before long.
He's giving away all the strats now.
My only shout out really is just Sonic speedrunning in general. Like, you can pick up this game, call it Sonic Speedrun. You can pick up a Metroidvania game and call it a speedrun. A Sonic Speedrun, like, yeah, this series is epic. Somebody was like, oh, we should see all 4 of these people race. I was like, no, because I will lose. But if you want to see Rhodes and Huds are going to be doing a race at a certain European event in early January. So, no, early mid-February. So,
late Feb.
I was saying, I got to change my flight. What? Kill me.
Awesome. Thank you all so much again. Everyone, please follow everybody involved here if you want to see more Sonic speedrun goodness. I just updated it on the stream, so if you're just looking at it, everyone's name is just their Twitch name, so you can follow them all there. Thank you all so much again. This was awesome. I hope everyone enjoyed the Sonic 3D speedrun showcase. We got to get into Legally Cute coming up next, so thank you again for watching, and see you